Chapter 847. Every one of them has been recognized by the origin energy. Lin Feng stared at the battlefield. The five-man team, led by Master Fierce Red, was quite terrifying. Even the red-haired, scarred youth, the only saint, was using the origin of fire. This wasn't much. That strange-looking bearded man with a hat and a huge axe even had two types of origin energy. Very precise control, Lin Feng thought. Compared to them, his use of the origin of light was like a toddler's. Their use of the origin energy was not wasted at all. It was like the same pot of water in the desert. When he used it, he drank it in big mouthfuls. Most of it was wasted, but they drank it in small mouthfuls, even drop by drop. They used the origin energy to the extreme. Only this way can they fight for a long time. Lin Feng watched carefully, not wanting to miss any details. For example, the same move could kill the opponent with 10% of the origin energy, but with the full infusion of the origin of light, there was 50%, which meant that 40% of the origin of light was wasted. After all, each warrior had not crossed the Grand Nirvana, even if the origin energy obtained by each warrior was very little. Unlike himself, who had 10 times the light core. Since it's the energy in the body, it can be controlled. I just haven't mastered the method. Lin Feng was very clear now. Since the holy qi could be perfectly controlled, the origin energy could also be controlled. One was like a docile pony, the other was like a bad-tempered wild horse. Lin Feng floated in the air, watching intently. Such a good opportunity to learn was hard to come by. Especially the battle between the top primeval demons. Sparks flew everywhere. The Light Man was against the top primeval demon of the Chiyu clan, and the youth with two blades was against the top primeval demon of the Netherworld clan. Oh? Lin Feng looked sideways. A woman similar to a human figure suddenly appeared in the demon army. Her purple eyes were shining with a strange light. It was very familiar. The purple-eyed demon clan, one of the 4 ancient demon clans. Her magical laughter was extremely charming and spread throughout the battlefield. The appearance of the purple-eyed demoness boosted the morale of the demon army. On the other hand, the honorary lieutenants were affected. But in an instant, a surge of invisible energy spread out and covered everything. Immediately, the demonic laughter was shrouded and could no longer be heard. The beautiful woman who looked weak and fragile floated in midair. Her entire body was enveloped in a layer of golden light. Her strength was finally revealed. Heavenly Centipede Cultivator. Lin Feng thought to himself. Furthermore, it's a golden light. What she comprehended is the Tao of divine husbandry. The Celestial Eclipse Cultivation was to the Saint Power Cultivators, just as the Origin Energy was to the Saint Qi Cultivators. One was divided into 3. The Heaven Puppet Cultivation was divided into the God Puppet Cultivation, the Human Puppet Cultivation, and the Devil Puppet Cultivation. There was no difference in strength. What was easy to distinguish was that the origin energy had colors. For example, flames were red, darkness was black, wood was green, and so on. Among the heaven puppets, the god puppets were golden, the human puppets were colorless, and the devil puppets were black. Birds of a feather flocked together. There was a bearded man with a huge axe and a young man with 2 blades. Even the scarred youth had source energy. This beautiful woman, whose strength and status seemed to be higher than the 3 of them, was naturally not a mediocre person. Her strength instantly erupted. She directly suppressed the purple-eyed demoness. What a strong god puppet cultivation. A clear voice sounded in his ears. Lin Feng knew who it was. 2 familiar auras arrived. It was Manzi and Yixia. Manzi, do you know where they came from? Lin Feng did not turn around. They came from the Miracle Garden. Manzi said, the Miracle Garden, the human territory. It was the first human domain. The second and third domains were among them. They had the longest history and had the highest status in the human world, even if all the experts from the 4th to the 12th domains were added together. It was not even half as good as the Miracle Garden. They are the Crimson Billow team. They used to be the 4th glory team of the Glory Alliance. Manzi's beautiful eyes sparkled. It was originally a 6-man team. Unfortunately, one of them died. Now, it is a 5-man team. They are named after the captain, Chi Lai, and the vice captain, Inlan. The top experts of the Glory Alliance. Chilai Inlan. Lin Feng thought in his heart and asked in a curious voice, Manzi, how do you know them? Shi Manzi revealed a charming smile. The Crimson Billow team's fame in the Miracle Garden is not small, especially the captain, Chilai, and the vice captain, Inlan. They have already obtained the qualifications to enter the Miracle Sacred Domain. There are countless Nirvana Realm experts in the Miracle Garden, but there are less than 100 people who can become Miracle Warriors. Seeing that Lin Feng did not understand, Shi Manzi explained with a faint smile, Miracle Warriors, they are experts who have passed the Great Nirvana Realm. For example, the generals can all be called Miracle Warriors. As long as they join the Miracle Garden, they can obtain the qualifications to enter the Miracle Sacred Domain. If a Nirvana Realm expert obtains the title of Miracle Warrior early, it means that they have a 99% chance of passing the Great Nirvana Realm. So it's like this. Lin Feng suddenly understood. Looking at the battlefield, the bearded man with the hat and giant axe had obtained the acknowledgement of two kinds of source energy. His strength was comparable to the top ancient demon, but he was not a miracle warrior. In other words, the miracle warrior was even stronger. Are there many of these small teams in the Miracle Garden? Lin Feng asked. Shi Manzi gave a slight nod. Many glory teams will leave for the Miracle Garden after reaching the Nirvana Realm, including the Star Hall. After the top human geniuses reach the Nirvana Realm, around 70% of them will enter the Miracle Garden, 20% will choose to take root in their family, and 10% will stay in the Glory Alliance or the Star Hall, becoming a general in the future. The Crimson Billow team. Lin Feng's eyes sparkled. Their strength was very terrifying. The flat-headed dual-blade youth and the red-haired scarred-faced youth killed demons like cutting tofu. The bearded man with the hat and the giant axe had already suppressed the top ancient demon of the Netherworld race. As for the purple-eyed witch who had just appeared, she had been forced back by the vice-captain, Inlan. Absolute strength. They did not even need to make a move against their captain, Chi Lai, and they had already turned the situation around. This is the battle strength of the Miracle Garden. Lin Feng's heart trembled. It was no wonder that the battles of the Path of Glory were always between the first, second, and third regions. There was a large disparity in strength. Roar boom. A giant black vortex appeared in the sky, and a terrifying demon expert that seemed to be able to swallow the heavens appeared. He was also a top ancient demon, but his aura was stronger than Qi Yuanba and the other two demon commanders. The three ancient demon clans were all here, so how could the remaining heaven-devouring demon clan not be here? The overall demon commander, Wu Qi, his aura was not ordinary. Wu Qi's appearance caused the world to shake, but in the next moment, pung pung, flames filled the sky, mixed with the power of light. Qi Lai raised his right hand, and the flaming sun on his forehead condensed all his power, turning into a giant flaming sun. It shot into the sky, and its might caused the sky to shake. Three kinds of source energy, and it's in a fused state. Lin Feng was shocked. Chapter 848. There was nowhere to hide. The moment the demon commander Wu Qi appeared, he suffered a devastating blow. The scorching sun, which was mixed with the flames of light, swallowed up the sky with an unstoppable force. The terrifying darkness vanished in an instant. The disappearance of the black haze brought about the boiling battle intent of the honorable army that surged out. The demon race army was completely dumbfounded. They had sent out one main and three vice demon commanders this time. The strongest one was the demon commander Wu Qi, however. Before he could show himself, he had already turned into ashes in an instant. Qi Yuanba opened his eyes wide and was instantly stunned. He was injured by the light man and was sent flying. Yusher's face was pale and green. He wanted to escape, but want to leave? Ha ha! The bearded man wearing a hat laughed valiantly, and an emerald green light suddenly appeared. Small and exquisite trees grew on the spot and spread continuously, completely sealing off the surrounding area. On the other side, the purple-eyed demoness let out a shrill cry. She did not even have the chance to escape. The miracle warrior Inlan used all his strength, and quickly killed her. Bang, bang, bang. Chi Yuanba dragged his heavily injured body and fled in panic. He was extremely shocked. The sudden change of the situation on the battlefield was seen by Lin Feng. He sighed in his heart. The demon race army clearly had the upper hand. However, in just a moment, 3 of the 4 demon commanders had died. If Chi Lai wanted to keep Chi Yuanba alive, he would not be able to escape. However, Chi Lai obviously did not plan to do so. He only attacked once and did not attack again. It was as if it was enough for him. So strong. Lin Feng felt his palms turn cold. That strike, just now, was perfect and impeccable. Now he finally understood why the bearded man wearing the hat with the huge axe was unable to become a miracle martial artist, even though he was so strong and had obtained 2 types of origin energy. Because he was still a long way from becoming a real miracle warrior. Including himself, no one could take Chi Lai's attack just now. He only knew how terrifying it was after seeing it with his own eyes. This is the strength of the 5th on the Nirvana ranking. Shimanzi muttered. Nirvana ranking? Lin Feng was surprised. Shimanzi nodded. It is the ranking of all the warriors under the great Nirvana ranking. Chi Lai is ranked 5th. Yin Lan is ranked 47th. And the rest of the Chi Lan squad is not in the top 100. Including him, Lin Feng pointed at the bearded man wearing a hat. Yuan Yi, the 136th place, excluding the miracle warrior. He is already very powerful. Shimanzi said. Lin Feng nodded. According to what Manzi had said earlier, there were close to 100 miracle warriors. Ranking 136 was indeed not bad. What about him? Lin Feng's eyes fell on the red-haired, scarred young man. Although he was ranked last in the Crimson Billow squad, his strength was also outstanding. Moreover, there was a mark on his forehead that was very similar to Chi Lai's bloodline. He should be from the same clan. Chi Ti. Last year, in the Path of Glory, Lightman was defeated by him. One of the hottest topics this year. Shimanzi's beautiful eyes flashed. Chi Ti. Lin Feng memorized the scarred youth's name. There was no more suspense. Glory 7 Alliance. They had completed a large reversal. With the help of the Crimson Billow squad, they had perfectly repelled the demon army. The 5 people of the Crimson Billow squad had relaxed expressions, and no one was injured. This truly showed the strength of the Miracle Garden's martial artists. The entire military area was filled with joy after the battle, the joy of surviving a disaster. It was very lively. Brother Lin, did you gain anything by yourself? Yixia asked with hope. Shimanzi's beautiful eyes flashed beside him, but she didn't say anything. With her intelligence, not long after Lin Feng left, she had already guessed the reason why Lin Feng left by himself. However, she was too weak to be of any help. Of course, Lin Feng said with a smile. Moreover, I gain a lot. Shimanzi curiously looked at Lin Feng. She could see that Lin Feng wasn't lying, but more than here? Yixia pointed at the storage ring. More, Lin Feng said with certainty. The second Glory squad's gains. Naturally, it would be more. Why? Yixia gave a gasp of disbelief. Shimanzi beside him was even more curious as she said in a soft voice, Is it true? Lin Feng revealed a smile. Handing the storage ring in his hand over to Shimanzi, the latter took it and inspected it. In an instant, she was stunned, before a smile blossomed on her peerlessly beautiful face, akin to a blooming datura flower, beautiful beyond compare. This should be the storage ring of the second Glory group, right? It wasn't hard to guess. There weren't many teams that had the ability to kill the primordial heavenly demon, especially those that were more efficient than Lin Feng. Yixia covered his mouth when he heard this. He looked around with a guilty conscience. Relax, I didn't kill my own team. Only, I accidentally implicated someone when I was running. Lin Feng said with a smile. Who was that unlucky? Shimanzi revealed a sweet smile. Qianhe, Lin Feng said. Shimanzi charmingly looked at him. Then do you feel guilty? No. Lin Feng shook his head. The 3 of them began to laugh. The demon army had retreated. The Glory Alliance 7 had truly ushered in victory. The celebration banquet started. Everywhere was filled with the cheers of the soldiers. The entire military area was filled with the smell of meat and wine, whetting everyone's appetite. Such a strong smell of blood, yet they turned a blind eye to it. Yixia was dumbfounded. They are already used to it. Lin Feng said, "It's just that you haven't really experienced the slaughter on the battlefield. These soldiers and captains have all been baptized by blood countless times. They are very familiar with the battlefield, so it's normal for them to feast." Shimanzi lightly nodded. Furthermore, the excitement and joy in their hearts is enough to cover everything. Yixia humbly listened and occasionally nodded. Not to mention the battlefield. He had been cultivating in seclusion in the valley since he was young. He didn't even have much actual combat experience. "Do you want to go and eat?" Lin Feng pointed at the bustling military area. Demonic beasts were being roasted, and rows of wine cups and jars were neatly arranged. Yixia's head shook like a rattle drum, his face filled with panic. "Don't joke around, Brother Lin. How can I eat? Let's go. Let's quickly exchange for the heavenly demon cores and claim our military merits." Saying that, Yixia hurriedly went forward. Lin Feng and Shimanzi looked at each other and smiled, then followed. The military area's exchange office was also filled with celebration. One by one, the heavenly demon cores were exchanged for battle merits. To the soldiers of the official army, every bit of battle merit was extremely precious. They used battle to nurture battle. They might not have outstanding talent, but they could rely on their unyielding fighting spirit to move forward step by step. As long as they had enough battle merits, they might be able to make a comeback. The heavens would always leave a window for those who worked hard. Everyone would have a chance. The official army had their own exchange office, the elite army had their own exchange office, and the ace army had their own exchange office. There was no need to queue. Lin Feng and the other two directly entered. Chapter 849. Brother Lin, can we really only exchange for half of the battle merits? Yixia's eyes were filled with pain. "Yes," Lin Feng replied. "If they participated in the war without notification, not only would they not get the battle rewards, the battle merits of killing demons would also be halved." It was understandable for the army to have such a rule. After all, if every honorary soldier on the battlefield acted recklessly, it would be a mess when it came to fighting for battle merits. The battle rewards are a little useful to the officers of the official army and the soldiers of the elite army, but it's not very useful to the ace teams, Shimanzi said. The stronger one was, the less they cared about the battle rewards. After all, it was only a fixed amount, equivalent to a basic salary. It's just a pity that the battle merits of the demons are halved. Shimanzi pouted her sexy little mouth. It would be a lie to say that they didn't care. After all, the heavenly demon cores they obtained this time would be a huge amount of battle merits. Yes, Yixia's face was full of grief. Thinking of losing a lot of battle merits, his heart ached. So be it. Lin Feng waved the storage ring in his hand. This is enough to make up for the half share, and there's still more. Don't forget that this is the first time our Chaos team is on a battlefield mission. There's an extra 20% battle merits reward, and a war of this scale will give us a military medal. Military medal. Yixia's eyes lit up. No. Shimanzi shook her head and smiled charmingly. Not 10%, but 100%. Compared to battle merits, Lin Feng was more interested in military medals. The battle merits of a Nirvana world were actually circulating currency. In the Glory Alliance, battle merits were not omnipotent because they still needed to be of the glory rank to buy them. 10,000 battle merits was a dividing line. Treasures below 10,000 battle merits could be bought directly, but treasures above 10,000 battle merits needed to be of the glory rank. Top-grade heaven-ranked holy treasures, heavenly holy weapons, heaven-ranked perfect treasures, holy fruits and pills were all worth more than 10,000 battle merits. And to Lin Feng, quality was not quantity. I received a second-class military merit medal. You can choose a top-tier heaven-ranked holy treasure worth around 10,000 battle merits. Lin Feng wasn't greedy. A top-grade heaven-ranked treasure comparable to Heitung was enough to raise his strength by an entire level. Light element. Light path combat boots. He had comprehended the profound meaning of the white crane glimmer, and also had the origin of light. To Lin Feng, everything was ready. All he needed was a pair of top-grade heaven-rank light-type combat boots. Then, he would be able to wield his speed to the extreme. At that time, he could attack or retreat. As long as he didn't encounter a particularly strong enemy, he could avoid it. In the dangerous Nirvana world, safety was always the first priority. He was now in the 8th level of the Sage Realm, not far from the Nirvana realm. When he became an honorary commander, he would enter the 6 most dangerous places. There was no harm in having more life-saving cards, and he also had to be careful of Ao Jianhui of the Ao family. Being in the Glory Alliance, Ao Jianhui couldn't do anything. However, as long as he left the Glory Alliance, when the time came, he would definitely make a move. He entered the exchange office. Lin Feng saw the Bai Zhe squad and the Azure Dragon squad at a glance, but he didn't see the Kuei squad. Lin Feng, Chaos squad, they're here too. The Azure Dragon squad, led by Qin Tiansheng, and the Bai Zhe squad, led by Wu Qi, looked over, looking very surprised. Obviously, they didn't expect that the Chaos squad with only 3 people could return safe and sound. Lin Feng walked forward. His eyes swept across the 2 teams. Everyone in the Azure Dragon squad was injured, and 2 people were missing. The Bai Zhe squad was missing 1 person, but the Captain Wu Qi and the Vice Captain Lung Yuqing were severely injured. Especially Lung Yuqing. His whole body was like withered, completely lifeless. This war was not easy to fight, especially when the Qi Lan squad didn't come. The demon army, led by the top primeval demon, was irresistible. Even if they formed an A squad, it would be difficult to match the top primeval demon. They were still alive. This meant that they didn't encounter the top primeval demon. Of the 4 top primeval demons, the Sky Devouring clan and the Purple Pupil clan appeared last. Only 2 primeval heavenly demons have appeared before. The one from the Chiyu clan fought against me, and the one from the Netherworld clan should have fought against the 2nd team of the Glory clan. Lin Feng thought for a moment and understood. He didn't say anything more and just nodded to everyone. Brother Lin's luck is not bad. You're not injured. Wu Qi looked at Lin Feng in shock, his face pale. I think so too, Lin Feng smiled. Someone in the Azure Dragon squad snorted and muttered. When the demon race attacked the army, he hid in the army to watch the show. Of course, he wouldn't be injured. His words were somewhat disdainful. The other members of the Azure Dragon squad also showed disdain. Lin Feng didn't explain. In fact, he was just watching the show in the end. Many soldiers in the army saw it, so he didn't think of hiding it. What are you talking about? You didn't see when Brother Lin killed the demon race. Yixia angrily rebuked. Sorry, I'm just telling the truth. The Azure Dragon squad member looked up, his eyes shining. It's not just him. When the demon race army attacked the army, your Chaos squad was watching from the side. Isn't that right? He Meng, Qin Tiansheng shouted. Sorry, Captain. The Azure Dragon squad member, He Meng, said, I'm a straightforward person. I say whatever comes to my mind. I can't stand these geniuses who brag about their talents. They treat the battlefield like child's play. They have no sense of mission and no sense of responsibility. Oh, you're the only one with a sense of mission and responsibility. Yixia's temper rose. It was fine to insult him, but he wouldn't allow anyone to insult Brother Lin. He Meng's lips curled up coldly. He tore open his damaged armor, which was full of scars. Some were even dripping with blood. He Meng, may not be talented, but I'm not a coward. When I'm on a battlefield, I'll rush to the front and kill the demon race. I won't leave the battlefield until I'm exhausted. The scars on my body are my glory. He Meng raised his head, his face full of pride. That's right. Meng. The rest of the Azure Dragon squad members agreed. Captain Qin Tiansheng also revealed a satisfied look. Yixia clenched his teeth in anger. Just as he was about to speak, he was stopped by Lin Feng. Under the gaze of Yixia and Shi Manzi, Lin Feng slowly walked towards the Azure Dragon squad, his expression calm and indifferent. Your scars are your glory, but it also means that you're not strong enough. Rushing to the front and killing the demon race is indeed very brave, but it doesn't mean that your actions are right and others are wrong. You can't generalize everything. What you see might not be everything. Shua. A storage ring suddenly appeared in Lin Feng's hand. In an instant, Walala countless heavenly demon cores fell down beside the Azure Dragon Squad's heavenly demon cores, piling up like a mountain. One was a small hill, while the other was a huge mountain. At the top, the primeval heavenly demon core shone brightly. To be continued. Chapter 850. Both the Azure Dragon Squad and the Bay Squad were shocked. Meng, who was half naked and covered in blood, was completely stunned. At this moment, he looked like a joke. The Azure Dragon Squad did not even have half of the heavenly demon nuclei, not only in quantity, but also in quality. Meng looked at the eye-catching primeval heavenly demon nuclei and was stunned. Qin Tiansheng looked at Lin Feng with a complicated expression. Wu Qi opened his mouth in an exaggerated manner. Even the ace soldiers in charge of counting and Commander Wei were stunned. Too many. Yixia stepped forward proudly and stepped over Meng. Don't use your standards to judge others. Just because you can't do it doesn't mean others can't. Did you see it when we, the Chaos Squad, charged into the army of the Devil Race? Did you see when Brother Lin killed the demons alone? Nothing. What right do you have to talk about Brother Lin? What right do you have to judge Brother Lin? Yixia snorted. Then, he took out the storage ring on his hand. Walala. Countless heavenly demon nuclei piled up, leaving everyone dumbfounded. Lin Feng had taken out enough. Who would have thought that the Chaos Squad still had a portion of the heavenly demon nuclei? The ridiculous amount was like looting the demon camp and picking up the heavenly demon nuclei from the ground. Impossible. Qin Tianxing's face was pale. His wolf-like eyes stared at Lin Feng. Qin Tianxing frowned. It's impossible to kill so many demon experts in such a short time with just the three of us. I suspect that some of these heavenly demon nuclei are... Qin Tianxing pursed his lips and did not continue. At this moment, Meng also reacted and shouted, Captain is right. You must have faked it and used the heavenly demon nuclei to exchange for battle merits. Quiet. Wei Xing'an, who had been silent all this while, spoke in a deep voice. He glanced at Lin Feng and then at the Azure Dragon Squad. Exchanging battle merits is a serious crime. The Glory Alliance will punish the offender severely, but there is no evidence. Making a false accusation is also a serious crime. Meng's face flushed red. It's impossible for the Chaos Squad to kill so many demon experts. Wei Xing'an said coldly, whether or not it's possible is not up to you to decide. I will personally examine each heavenly demon nucleus. If the examination is correct, not only will you have to take back what you said just now, you will also have to apologize to the Chaos Squad. Meng still wanted to say something, but he was stopped by Qin Tianxing. Please verify it, Commander, Qin Tianxing said confidently. He did not believe that the Chaos Squad had such ability. Indeed, Lin Feng didn't know about this before. However, after the ruckus caused by the Azure Dragon Squad, they had a rough idea of what was going on. To put it simply, they were secretly purchasing heavenly demon cores at a low price. After that, they would be used as proof of killing demons on the battlefield in exchange for battle merits, earning the difference in price. Brother Lin, could it be? Yixia was a little worried. Because some of it came from the Second Glory Squad, they got it fair and square, but the Second Glory Squad but he didn't know. Don't worry, Lin Feng said calmly. He believed that with the Second Glory Squad's strength, they would disdain doing such a thing. Everyone in the Azure Dragon Squad, including Captain Qin Tianxing, looked at Lin Feng and the other two with confidence, especially when they saw Yi Xia's panicked expression. They were even more certain of their guesses. How could a trifling, newly formed three-man squad, with two of them being Nirvana Realm soldiers, kill so many demons? Brother Lin, Captain Wu Qi of the White Fin Squad quietly approached. Captain Wu, Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Wu Qi raised his eyebrows and gave him a look. If some of them are of unknown origin, tell me. I won't help you get away with it. Oh, Lin Feng's heart warmed. Thank you. You're welcome. Wu Qi's eyes were even more shocked. So these heavenly demon cores were really obtained by you guys? Lin Feng gave an ambiguous answer and did not explain in detail. He believed in his own judgment. He counted quickly. He would know if they had stolen the heavenly demon cores after checking. Brand new heavenly demon cores and heavenly demon cores that had been stored for a long time looked the same, but there was actually a big difference inside. It was easy for a commander to tell the difference. Everyone in the Azure Dragon squad was still confident in the beginning, waiting to see the Chaos squad make a fool of themselves. But as time slowly passed, they could no longer laugh. It was real. Every heavenly demon nucleus was genuine and valuable, including the primeval heavenly demon cores. Slap. Putting down the last heavenly demon core, Wei Xinyuan's expression turned serious as he stared at Lin Feng. His eyes changed, containing shock and doubt. He then said, "Ordinary demons, heavenly demon cores 110 battle merits, great heavenly demon cores 966, 1758 battle merits, total 4,889 battle merits. 108 primeval demon clans, 1355 heavenly demon cores, 36,998 battle points, 311 great heavenly demon cores, 76,951 battle points, 7 primeval heavenly demon cores, 5,994 battle points, total 173,855 battle points. 10 progenitor heavenly demons, heavenly demon cores 75, 100,000 battle merits, great heavenly demon cores 33, 8,150 battle merits, primeval heavenly demon cores 8, 13,000 battle merits, total 3,170 battle merits." A series of numbers were reported, and the camp was silent. Every one of them was terrifying, especially the last two, which were as high as 170,000 and 30,000 battle merits. It was enough to make one speechless. A total of 454,445 battle merits. When Wei Xinyuan reported the final number, even he was shocked. Even if he was an ace commander, it was extremely difficult to earn this amount of battle merits. How many battles did he have to lead? How many powerful demons did he have to kill? It would take him many years of hard work. But this was only the first mission of the Chaos Squad, and they had earned it in less than half a day. 450,000 battle merits. How many ace squads could only dream of it? Wow! Wu Qi exclaimed. Everyone in the Bai Zhe squad looked over in surprise and envy. Usually, when ace squads went on a battlefield mission, most of the battle merits they earned would be in the range of 10,000 to 10,000 battle merits. It was rare for them to earn 10,000 battle merits, and it was only possible on a large-scale battlefield. Moreover, it required a certain amount of strength and luck. It was rare for them to earn 1 battle merits. In the history of ace squads, earning 10,000 battle merits could be counted on one hand. But now the Chaos Squad had earned as high as 450,000. There is no mistake. Commander Wei glanced at the Azure Dragon Squad. His expression suddenly sharpened, and he said sternly, "The Chaos Squad has made great contributions on the battlefield this time and killed countless enemies. Not only did you secretly ostracize them, but you also slandered them and made wild accusations. We will not let you off easily." "So sorry." He Meng's face was pale, and he broke out in cold sweat. To be continued. Chapter 851. Forget it. Lin Feng directly blocked Commander Wei's next words. There was no need to be unforgiving. No matter what, the Azure Dragon Squad was fighting with their lives on the line. Everyone belonged to the same camp and fought side by side. Furthermore, everyone was envious. After all, the Azure Dragon Squad had always been the strongest among the ace squads. Furthermore, most of his gains this time were not his own. Commander Wei snorted. Since Lin Feng is not willing to pursue the matter, let's forget about it this time. We are all ace squads. Let's not be suspicious of each other and fight in the dark. We should unite against the enemy. Yes, Commander, He Meng replied. He raised his head in shame and said to Lin Feng awkwardly, "Thank you." Lin Feng smiled. He would not take such a small matter to heart. Qin Tiansheng felt even more uncomfortable when he saw this indifferent expression. He had always been the one who owed others favors. Since when did he, the number 1 ace of the ace squads, need to care about others' opinions? Qin Tiansheng clenched his fists and felt indignant. Recalculate again, Commander Wei ordered. The group of ace soldiers quickly did the recalculation. After receiving the ace mission token from Lin Feng, Commander Wei frowned as he said, "Even though you have the ace mission token, you didn't know that you were going to enter the battlefield. For 3 of us to enter the battlefield without notifying you beforehand. Please forgive us, Commander Wei. At that time, the battle was about to break out. We were afraid of delaying the important matters, so we did not notify anyone." Seeing that Commander Wei's expression seemed to have softened, Lin Feng took advantage of the situation. If he had the chance, he would have to fight for 220,000 battle credits. I see. Commander Wei was deep in thought. As one of the ace squad commanders and the most senior, Wei Xinyuan had his own strengths. He had lost 100,000 battle credits to He Jin because of Wei Sun, which made him feel bad for a long time. During this time, he was extremely unhappy with Lin Feng. However, Lightman had personally selected Lin Feng to join the First Glory Squad. Then, Lin Feng's talent was outstanding, and he broke the record of the ace squads. Until now, his outstanding military exploits were right in front of him. Lin Feng could even easily kill the primordial heavenly devil. Wei Xinyuan's attitude had changed. Instead of becoming enemies, it was better to be on good terms. In the future, if Lin Feng became a Glory Army commander, his position would be higher than his. Even if he left the Glory Alliance and entered the Miracle Garden, he would still be a Glory Army commander. Getting to know a future powerhouse would only bring him benefits. The older one was, the more experience they had and the more they knew. Wei Xinyuan was very clear on why the Crimson Billow Squad had come. Because of the White Ram Army Lord. Since it happened so suddenly, it's understandable. Commander Wei's tone changed. The eyes of Lin Feng and the other 2 instantly lit up. In particular, Lin Feng was even more astonished in his heart. This was because he clearly knew that, because of the matter with Wei Sun, he had a small grudge with Commander Wei. At this time, he was already extremely lucky that Commander Wei did not drag him down. Who would have thought he actually sided with her? Although it's pardonable, rules are rules, Qin Tiansheng said coldly. Nothing can be accomplished without rules. If everyone uses this as an example in the future, where will the prestige of the Glory 7 Alliance go? How can our ace army be trusted by others? Qin Tiansheng's expression was cold. He seemed to be talking to himself. His voice was not heavy, but it gave Wei Xinyuan a difficult problem. On the side, Wu Qi looked on with a smile that was not a smile. He did not object or agree. He was very clear on Qin Tiansheng's character. He was arrogant and self-respecting. Although it was not intentional, he still had some grudges against Lin Feng for being in the limelight and overshadowing the Azure Dragon Squad. Yi Xia snorted, "Brother Lin, you're just too nice to people. They might not appreciate it." Qin Tiansheng raised his eyebrows and said proudly, "I, Qin Tiansheng, do not need to accept favors from others. 1 is 1, 2 is 2. If you want to punish the Azure Dragon Squad, just do it. If I complain, I'm not a man. But rules are rules. Since they've been set, then they must be obeyed." As stubborn as a bull, Qin Tiansheng was not willing to give in. At this moment, what if I said it? An arrogant voice sounded. Outside the door, 6 figures slowly walked in. Leading them was the leader of the White Ram Squad and the leader of the Scarlet Billow Squad, Qi Lai. The leader of the White Ram Squad had his hands behind his back. His hawk-like eyes swept across everyone and finally landed on Qin Tiansheng. The latter's face immediately turned green. "Greetings to the leader." Everyone bowed. The leader of the White Ram Squad waved his hand. "From today onwards, the military rules will be changed. If the squad is willing to pay 10,000 battle merits as a penalty, they will be given a lighter punishment. If they use their merits to compensate for their faults, they will not be restricted by half." Everyone heard it clearly. Qin Tiansheng's face turned pale. A penalty of 10,000 battle merits was simply a drop in the ocean for the Primal Chaos Squad. But the rules were reasonable. After all, more than 90% of the ace squads would not receive more than 10,000 battle merits. Furthermore, the leader had the power to change the unreasonable military rules. Thank you, leader. Lin Feng and the other two smiled. It was an unexpected gain. They had regained half of their battle merits. The leader of the White Ram Squad had personally spoken. If there was an imperial order, there would not be any other changes. Commander Wei looked over and smiled. Well done. The leader of the White Ram Squad glanced at the heavenly demon nucleus. But these should not all be yours, right? Lin Feng nodded. I picked up a storage ring on the battlefield. About 60% of the heavenly demon nucleus came from this ring. He could not hide anything from the leader of the White Ram Squad. Since he asked this question, he must have an answer in his heart. The leader of the White Ram Squad nodded. You are honest. Wei Xinyuan said, according to the rules of the battlefield, it should belong to the Primal Chaos Squad. This storage ring belongs to the second glory team. Since we didn't take it by force, it belongs to you now that it's in your hands. The leader of the White Ram Squad's words were like an order. Commander Wei, how many battle merits did the Primal Chaos Squad get this time? Wei Xinyuan answered. They accumulated 454,445 battle merits. Since it was the first time the Primal Chaos Squad entered the battlefield, they received 20% of the battle merits. Also, since it was a large-scale battle, they also received 20% of the battle merits. Every 10,000 battle merits will increase the reward by 1%. 450,000 battle merits will increase the reward by 45%. The total is 8407 battle merits. Wei Xing'an looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng, are you willing to pay the penalty of 10,000 battle merits? I am willing. Lin Feng did not hesitate at all. The members of the Azure Dragon Squad had ugly expressions as they muttered in their hearts. Did it make a difference whether or not he was punished for 10,000 battle merits? The leader of the White Ram Squad nodded and remained expressionless. I do not have so many glory sapphires. Take this glory indigo gem. The rest will be your reward. With a gaze like lightning, the leader of the White Ram Squad tossed out a glory gem that was emitting an indigo glow. Lin Feng instinctively reached out to receive it. He opened his right hand, and instantly the light shone brightly. Everyone was tongue-tied and almost suffocated. The glory indigo gem was worth 1,000,000 battle merits. Chapter 852. For an expert at the level of the White Ram Military Lord, a few 100,000 wasn't much. But to Lin Feng, a few 100,000 battle merits was quite precious. From 840,000 battle merits to 10,000 battle merits, everyone's eyes were filled with envy. Beside Lin Feng, Yi Xia's eyes were filled with excitement. That was 10,000 battle points. Even an ace commander didn't have that many battle points, but they had already reaped it in their first battle. Thank you, Sir Military Lord, for your generosity. Lin Feng accepted the glory indigo gem. This is what you deserve, the White Ram Military Lord said. When the evaluation is over, there will be medals given based on your contributions, so there will be a share for you. Work hard on your cultivation and don't disappoint me for the 5 spots in the 12 Alliance competition next month. Yes, Sir Military Lord, Lin Feng replied. Even if the White Ram Military Lord didn't say anything, he would still do his best to advance. Qin Tianxing's face was very ugly. He was also a participant, but the White Ram Military Lord didn't even look at him. His words were completely biased towards Lin Feng. Clenching his fists, Qin Tianxing's heart was filled with indignation. In his eyes, he wasn't any weaker than Lin Feng. I was just lucky to pick up the storage ring of the second glory team. Qin Tianxing still looked down on Lin Feng. However, White Ram, you really are stingy. You think it's enough to make up the difference? Qi Lai said from the side. The White Ram Military Lord rolled his eyes at Qi Lai. I'm not as rich as you. Qi Lai gave a hearty laugh and said to Lin Feng, Kid with no future here, come to the Miracle Garden. I'll take you to see the real human world. How about it? Are you interested in joining my Qi Lan squad? 5,000,000 battle points. As long as you nod, it's yours. Qi Lai waved his hand, and 5 glory indigo gems appeared in his hand. They were genuine and made everyone stunned. Qin Tianxing's body trembled. He looked at Lin Feng in disbelief. He was very clear on what Qi Lai meant. Join the Miracle Garden. Moreover, it was different from entering the Miracle Garden. They were inviting Lin Feng to join the Miracle Team, a small team led by a miracle warrior. 5 million battle merits, Qin Tianxing murmured. The number represented the degree of importance. He wasn't surprised that a glory captain like Lightman was invited for 5 million battle points, but he found it hard to believe that only Lin Feng was invited. This was a treatment that not even glory players could enjoy. Lin Feng, on what basis? At this time, Lin Feng also did not expect that Qi Lai, whom he had only met once, would suddenly recruit him. On top of that, he even offered a huge reward of 50,000 military merits. He had thought that 10,000 battle merits was more than enough, but now he realized that 10,000 battle merits was just a drop in the bucket. To see cough. The White Ram Army Lord coughed dryly. Red Blaze, this is my territory. Aren't you being too brazen by pulling people from my Glory Alliance's military region? Qi Lai glared at the White Ram Army Lord. With a single word from you, I'll leave my team here. Our brothers haven't rested since coming from the Divine Ruins, and we can't even pull you in? I say, White Ram Army, you're burning the bridge after crossing the river. You're not kind. All right, as you wish. The White Ram Army Lord helplessly said, but I can't control whether he goes with you or not. Of course. Qi Lai raised his chin and revealed a proud look. How about a kid? Have you considered it? My Scarlet Billow team's reputation in the Miracle Garden is not small. We won't treat you badly. Staying here with your talent? It's a waste of talent. The opportunity was indeed good. Joining the Scarlet Billow team and entering the Miracle Garden. It was like a fish leaping over the Dragon Gate, reaching the heavens in a single step. As far as Lin Feng knew, many glory teams had captains and vice-captains. Often they would break through to the Nirvana realm and leave the Glory Alliance. They would enter the Miracle Garden and then join the Miracle Team. But right now, he was only an ace captain in the 7th level of the Saint Realm. But he was already several steps ahead of the other Glory members. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. Junior appreciates Senior's kindness. Lin Feng considered again and finally chose to decline. To everyone's surprise, including the White Ram Army Commander and the Scarlet Billow team, their faces were filled with surprise. They couldn't figure out why Lin Feng would refuse. Idiot! Qin Tianxing sneered in his heart. If it were him, he would have already agreed. Many Glory members couldn't wait for this opportunity, but Lin Feng didn't want it. If he wasn't an idiot, then what was? Qi Lai wasn't surprised. He stared at Lin Feng with a pair of burning eyes. After a long time, Qi Lai said with a smile, I believe that you should have your own plans. Everyone has their own ambitions, so I won't force you. If there's a chance to come to the Miracle Garden, I'll be the host. Okay, Junior will definitely be there, Lin Feng said. Qi Lai laughed, and then turned around to leave, very free and easy. Yinlan, Yuan Yi, and the other members followed. The only 9th level of the Saint Realm, the red-scarred youth, Qi Ti, stared deeply at Lin Feng and raised his eyebrows. He also left with a smile that wasn't a smile. Very good. The White Ram Army Commander looked deeply at Lin Feng and left with satisfaction. This time, there was a bit of approval and affirmation in his eyes. Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh. The White Ram Army Commander probably thought that he was planning to stay in the Glory Alliance for a long time, so he was very satisfied. It was normal. As the commander of the 7 Glory Alliance, he naturally didn't want to see talent leave. His actions just now were equivalent to showing loyalty to the White Ram Army Commander and the Glory Alliance. But in reality, it wasn't like that. What a pity. Lin Feng was very tempted. Joining the Scarlet Billow team and entering the Miracle Garden was a great opportunity, but he couldn't do that for the time being. It could only be said that the time wasn't right. Looking at Yi Xia and Shi Manzi, Lin Feng said, Let's go. Snow blowing and Wu Daozi are waiting for our good news. Let's go. The 3 of them left. The Azure Dragon team and White Pool team were left staring at each other, sighing, returning to the Ace Army Commander's territory. After handing in the Ace mission token, the Chaos team completed their first mission, which was also a mission with a high quota. News of 10,000 merit points quickly spread, causing a huge commotion in the Ace Army commander's territory. All the Ace Army commanders were very envious. Lin Feng naturally wasn't stingy and took 60% of the quota. Yixia and Shi Manzi each took 15%, while Wu Daozi and Snow Blowing each took 5%. Since he ate the meat, he had to leave some soup for his team members, especially Wu Daozi and Snow Blowing. Although they only took 5%, they still got 50,000 merit points. Just training alone was enough for them to squander for a long time and easily get over their financial difficulties. As for Yixia and Shi Manzi, not only did they get 150,000 merit points each, but they also got 50,000 merit points each. They also got military medals. Chapter 853. First Class Military Medal. Lin Feng was stunned when he received the medal. Even the Glory team found it difficult to obtain a first-class military medal. The battle on Battlefield 1 seemed fierce, but in reality, it had only been a single day. Moreover, the biggest contributor wasn't him, but the Crimson Billow team. Without their appearance, the Glory Alliance 7 would have lost without a doubt. Wei Xinyuan, who was in charge of delivering the medals, smiled. Normally speaking, there should be one second-class military medal and 2 third-class military medals. Even if you're lucky, there should only be 3 second-class military medals. Lin Feng nodded. The medals were distributed according to the number of people in the team. As far as he knew, Manzi and Yixia both received second-class medals, so he should also receive one. But strength and combat strength are indeed important, but there are also some things you can't do without. Wei Xinyuan looked at Lin Feng. Among the 3 ace commanders, in terms of strength, I'm not as good as He Jin. In terms of talent, I'm not as good as Yuan Shuang. However, the one with the most authority is me. Does Brother Lin understand? Lin Feng suddenly understood. 2 words could summarize everything. Loyalty. No matter how strong you are, if you're not loyal, why would the Glory Alliance nurture you? The reason was simple. Lin Feng recalled his rejection of Fierce Crimson's invitation and the praise in the eyes of the White Ram Army's commander. The doubts in his heart were immediately resolved. This first-class military medal should be his reward for his loyalty. As the saying goes, it's better to be the head of a chicken than the tail of a phoenix. Wei Xinyuan said meaningfully, with Brother Lin's strength, I believe it's only a matter of time before you become an honorary commander. Instead of going to the Miracle Garden and fighting to the death, it's better to stay in the Glory Alliance. Right now, the Glory Alliance 7 doesn't have an honorary commander. If Brother Lin is willing, you don't lack any power, status, or resources. You only need to listen to the commander. Wei Xinyuan said with a heavy heart. Stay in the Glory Alliance 7. This was something Lin Feng hadn't thought about before, but after Wei Xinyuan mentioned it, it was a good choice. Thank you for your advice, Commander Wei, Lin Feng said. Wei Xinyuan smiled. Brother Lin is a smart person. Your future is limitless. When the time comes, please take care of me. Commander Wei, you're exaggerating. I'm the one who still needs your guidance. Lin Feng said modestly. Well said, well said. Wei Xinyuan chuckled. Lin Feng had no enmity towards Wei Xinyuan. He was just like Dong Taifu from the East Pole Palace back then. They were both clever and flexible. Wherever the wind blows, it will fall. One good thing about this kind of person was that as long as you were stronger than him, he would try to curry favor with you and flatter you. Now that Wei Xinyuan was valued by Qi Lai and general by Jia, Wei Xinyuan was not stupid. After sending Wei Xinyuan off, Lin Feng sighed in his heart. Receiving the grace of the White Ram Army was equivalent to owing a favor. If he did not stay in the Glory Alliance in the future, it would be a debt that would be difficult to settle. Entering the Miracle Garden and joining the Miracle Team was a broad path, especially being valued by Fierce Scarlet. Joining the Scarlet Billow team was like a fish jumping through the Dragon Gate, but he didn't want to take any risks. Because there was still A.O. Jianwei in the dark, the A.O. clan was eyeing them covetously. Leaving the Glory Alliance and entering the Miracle Garden was equivalent to exposing himself to the A.O. clan. In the Miracle Garden, the A.O. clan's influence was not small. It would be dangerous for him to enter alone. Lin Feng was still repulsed by the idea of entrusting his life to someone else. Even if I enter the miracle garden, at least wait until I reach the nirvana realm. My strength will be enough to protect myself, or even I can compare to fierce Scarlet. Miracle warrior. With the strength of the nirvana realm, he had forcefully crossed the great nirvana realm. One step at a time, Lin Feng held the first-class military merit medal. This was a completely unexpected gain. A second-class military merit medal could enter the fourth floor of the Glory Treasury in exchange for a top-grade heaven-rank treasure. A first-class military merit medal could enter the fifth floor of the Glory Treasury in exchange for a perfect heaven-rank treasure. The starting price was 100,000 battle merits. Hundreds of thousands, or even millions of battle merits. Ooh, Lin Feng sighed. He hesitated in his heart. Originally, he planned to use the second-class military merit medal to exchange for a pair of light-type, light-speed combat boots that could unleash the origin of light and the perfect profound meaning white crane glimmer. But now, exchanging for a pair of perfect heaven-rank combat boots is indeed strong, but exchanging for a perfect heavenly saint weapon, it can also greatly increase my strength. Lin Feng frowned slightly. A warrior's most important weapon was a weapon. He clearly knew that his weapon no longer had an advantage in a fight with an expert. Nirvana realm experts basically all had a top-grade heavenly saint weapon. Although no matter what choice he made, his battle strength would increase. But he could not have the best of both worlds. What a pity. Lin Feng shook his head. It would be great if the first-class military merit medal could be divided into two. At this moment, Sir, the elite commander Qi Jiang has come to visit. Housekeeper Gong's son, when reported. Brother Qi? Lin Feng was surprised. He would not forget the people who had cultivated beside the divine lightstone tablet that day. His relationship with Brother Qi was very good. But why was he looking for him? Let him in, Lin Feng said. Yes, sir. Battlefield number 1. The smoke finally dissipated. In this cruel war, both the human race and the demon race had suffered a lot of losses. For a long time, the demon race army would not make a big move again. The tragedy of the war was deeply ingrained in people's hearts, especially after the return of the Second Glory Team. It's too tragic. Yes, the Second Glory Team, who had repeatedly achieved good results, was defeated on the battlefield this time. Except for the captain Ing Jian and Chuan Xinho, the rest of the team members, including the vice-captain Giant Kuei, died under the claws of the demon race. If Ing Jian and Chuan Xinho did not have life-saving treasures, they would not have escaped death. I heard that all 4 ancient demon clans appeared this time. That's nothing. In the end, they were still defeated by us. That's right, we are the strongest. The Second Glory Team was very miserable this time. They stubbornly resisted and were entangled by the netherworld race's Yuho. Although Ing Jian was very strong, he was still inferior to Yuho. Yuho, who had a powerful ancient bloodline, defeated Ing Jian without much effort. If Ing Jian did not come from a famous family and had a life-saving treasure, he would have died there. As for Chuan Xinho, his strength was ranked 3rd in the Second Glory Team, and he was good at concealment and assassination. His survival ability was stronger than the vice-captain Giant Kuei. It was not only the Second Glory Team that was miserable. The Ace Team also lost a lot of Ace captains, especially the Kuei Team. Except for Huoshan, who did not participate in the battle and fled at the last minute. Almost all of them were wiped out. As for the loss of the elite army, it was so great that it was impossible to calculate. There were as many as 11 elite captains, and the corpses of the elite captains and sergeants were strewn all over the field. It was definitely the most tragic loss of life in the past 10 years. The only one who was laughing heartily was the Chaos Team that had netted millions of battle achievements. Taking advantage of the situation, they rose to fame. Lin Feng had become the most popular figure in the Ace Team. His strength had become a legend. Chapter 854. Brother Qi. Lin Feng greeted him with a smile. Ha. Often, I came uninvited, Qi Jiang said cheerfully. How could that be? You're welcome. Lin Feng led Qi Jiang to a seat. The servant girl poured tea for Chi-jiang. Chi-jiang took a few sips and put down the teacup. Haha, I just came out of the profound meaning world. I didn't expect so many things to happen during my seclusion. What a pity. Lin Feng nodded. The captains beside the divine light steel have been comprehending for at least a few months. Some have been comprehending for at least a few years. It was normal for them to spend a few months in seclusion. Sometimes, when they entered a trance, a few months would fly away in the blink of an eye. Brother Qi, did you gain anything this time? Lin Feng asked. Yes. Chi-jiang's eyes brightened. I was lucky. Maybe I was influenced by you often. I suddenly had this feeling. Time waits for no man. That's why I delayed my business for so long. Business? Lin Feng sneered. Chi-jiang laughed. One doesn't visit a temple for no reason. This time, I came to present a gift to you often. I hope I can make it in time. As he spoke, a 7-colored radiant star ring appeared in his hand. He tossed it over. Lin Feng caught it. It was too familiar. It was the 7-colored radiant star ring. It could open the 4th level of the glory treasury. It was the highest level radiant star ring. This is? Lin Feng didn't understand. Black Flame gave it to me. Did you forget, often? Chi-jiang chuckled. Although this guy is rash and easily angered, he's still a man. He gave me this 7-colored radiant star ring on the day he lost a bet. It must have hurt him a lot. Lin Feng understood. He didn't care if Brother Qi didn't mention it. He just took it as a joke. If I lose to him, I'll give him the position of commander. What's the use of your position as a commander? Let me think. How about you offer up a 7-colored brilliant star ring? Do you think I'm afraid of you? Lin Feng couldn't help but laugh when he imagined He Yan's appearance with his veins popping out. After that, He Yan and Chi-jiang kept on bickering. They were like a pair of enemies, so he left. Who would have thought that things would turn out like this? A rainbow star ring was worth the same as a 2nd-class military medal. Even if He Yan was a top-ranked elite commander, it was not easy for him to get it. He had lost a bet. It was like cutting off a piece of his flesh. All right. Chi-jiang patted his thigh and stood up in a carefree manner. I've finished my business here. It's time for me to leave. Lin Feng was stunned. So fast. Chi-jiang laughed heartily. Time is precious. Every second counts. While my comprehension is still clear, I will go back and continue my closed-door training. I believe that within this year and a half, I will definitely succeed. If you need my help, just let me know, Lin Feng said. Chi-jiang said, I won't be polite. Often, you're the hottest new star in Glory's 7 alliances. Your strength is a mystery, but your future is limitless. Haha. All right, you don't have to send me off. Hurry up and cultivate. You must get one of the 5 spots in the 12 alliances tournament. Okay, Lin Feng smiled. Looking at Brother Qi's departing figure, Lin Feng's heart was filled with warmth. He knew Brother Qi had sent him here before the 3rd round of the Path of Glory qualification tournament, which was also the most important round. Otherwise, he would still be comprehending in front of the divine light stone tablet. Unless it was something urgent, no martial artist would leave at the crucial moment of enlightenment. I must get one of the 5 spots in the 3rd round. Lin Feng held the rainbow star ring. There was no need to hesitate anymore. A rainbow star ring and a 1st-class military medal. Just enough to get 2 heaven-grade holy treasures that he urgently needed. Lin Feng's energy was limited. Although he did not give up on cultivating the True Dragon Star, there was still a big gap between it and the Remote Peace Star. Although the True Dragon Star had reached level 8 of the Nirvana Realm, but the Remote Peace Star was already level 7 of the Ascendant Realm. Subperfect Bloodline. Lin Feng held the new light element Heavenly Saint weapon, Demon Slayer. There were blood-red pearls in front of him. He knew that his bloodline was very powerful. It was already at the ordinary, peerless grade after its first awakening. It was comparable to the bloodline of most martial artists after their second awakening. It was a legend in the Nirvana realm, but such a bloodline existed. For this reason, Lin Feng specially looked through all kinds of information to find the subperfect bloodline that Qi Lai mentioned. The subperfect bloodline refers to the bloodline that is closest to the perfect bloodline. Indeed, it only exists in legends. Only the Tian Mo 5 races with the purest bloodline in the Miracle Garden have it. Lin Feng thought to himself. Furthermore, it is a rare occurrence that happens only once in 10,000 years. As for the other races, they have to achieve subperfect bloodlines. The chances of a subperfect bloodline becoming subperfect are almost zero. Unless the bloodline mutates, it is possible to enter the ultimate bloodline during the second awakening. But most of them are only at the ordinary ultimate bloodline. As long as the subperfect bloodline is awakened for the second time, it will be at the ordinary ultimate bloodline. The strongest bloodline is infinitely close to the perfect bloodline. It was recorded in the ancient books. Lin Feng knew very well that the so-called perfect bloodline was actually the second generation of humans who were born with 100% brain expanse. After that, even if the brain expanse was 99% or even 99%, it was still not considered a perfect bloodline. Innate and acquired were different. Pucci, Lin Feng began to absorb the blood-red pearls again. The large number of blood-red pearls he obtained in the blood mist forbidden land helped him awaken the terrifying monster hidden in his body. It was the origin of the whirlpool body. Now, he was already at the 7th level of the Sage realm. He was not far from the Nirvana realm. His perception of the bloodline in his body was getting stronger. If he could break through the bloodline, his strength is hard to estimate. The blood-red pearls were quickly absorbed. Lin Feng's body could easily absorb the energy of the blood-red pearls. But because he had absorbed countless pearls, the effect was getting weaker and weaker. He could only rely on the accumulation of numbers. It was useless to keep them. Lin Feng quickly absorbed them. 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours time passed slowly. The number of blood-red pearls decreased bit by bit. From the initial 140 pearls to 1,000 pearls, then to 800,700,600 pearls. The number decreased again and again, and the effect weakened again and again until it was insignificant. Lin Feng stopped absorbing. There were 30 blood-red pearls left, but they were no longer of any use to his body. In other words, his body was already full. Lin Feng exhaled softly and opened his eyes. The absorption came to an end. Although there was still a considerable amount of blood-red pearls energy left in his body, he knew that the second bloodline awakening would not happen for the time being. Even if he could clearly feel his existence, even if the whirlpool black hole had formed like a cosmic space and was as stable as a rock. But he refused to appear. Since it's a subperfect bloodline, then what I'm missing is most likely it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Chapter 855. Although the bloodline was related to talent, it was more related to strength and level. For those who enter Nemo, every level of strength increase is a slight sublimation of life. Lin Feng knew very well that no matter how deep or weak the bloodline was on Nemo planet, as long as one's strength entered Nemo planet, the bloodline would awaken for the first time. After crossing the Grand Nirvana, the bloodline would awaken for the second time. Because these two leaps were great leaps in the level of life. If he crossed the Grand Nirvana, the bloodline would awaken for the second time. But there was not only one way. My cultivation method is different from that of the humans on Nemo planet. Maybe the bloodline is also different. The key is in the third meridian diagram. To awaken the bloodline, I need to improve the third meridian diagram. Lin Feng was 80% sure now. And there was not only one way to improve the third meridian diagram. The simplest way was to improve the concentration of the bloodline like the blood-red bead, but it could only be found by chance. Secondly, the absorption of the demon core could be directly swallowed by him in the third meridian diagram. It could even lead to a chain reaction and improve the first and second meridian diagrams. Unfortunately, the demon cores of ordinary demons are not of much use to me. With my current strength, the demon core's effect is very weak. The great demon core is slightly useful. It's best if it's a primeval demon core, and the purer the energy, the better. Lin Feng said, but it's too difficult to get, and using battle merits to buy it. The consumption is too high. It's not worth it, especially now that he could cultivate quickly in the heaven and earth realm. The most direct result of cultivation was the improvement of the true dragon star and remote calm star. Simply put, It was the improvement of the first and second meridian diagrams. Using this to improve the third meridian diagram is the right way. Rather than taking a shortcut, it was better to take the right path. The effect of absorbing the primeval demon core was good, but the problem was where to find a large number of them. He didn't have enough battle merits to exchange them, and he didn't have enough strength to kill them. He could only do it step by step. He continued to cultivate. The third round of the Path of Glory's qualification battle on the 1st of October was getting closer and closer. Lin Feng was consolidating his current strength. Step by step, blade technique, power realm, and light origin. He had personally witnessed the Battle of Crimson Billow Squad and benefited a lot. This was especially true for their usage of origin energy. Furthermore, it was extremely precise, allowing him to send and receive it as he wished. The cultivation of White Crane Glimmer had reached a bottleneck. From his second diagram to the third diagram, it was not easy to cross over. Fortunately, Lin Feng had the light origin. Therefore, he was still able to unleash the power of White Crane Glimmer. Compared to the martial artists who comprehended the third painting but did not have the origin source energy, they were much stronger. Furthermore, this time, 2 more treasures were added. Top-grade heaven-ranked War Boots of Light, She Radiance. Perfect Heavenly Saint Weapon, Demon's Lair. Lin Feng held the war blade in his hand, and rich light energy covered his whole body. There were already some obstacles when using Black Viper. After all, Black Viper was a dark elemental saber and was somewhat resistant to light energy. However, with the strength of the light origin and his control over it, it was not too big of a problem. It was just that he could not unleash 100% of its power. But now Clang. Lin Feng swung his saber. Along with a wisp of light origin, the light mark on his forehead flashed and disappeared. His exquisite control increased the power of the War Blade Demon Slayer tenfold. The speed at which he swung the blade was especially shocking. Complemented by the first style of the 7 limits, New Ocean Cleaving, the speed of the blade alone can defeat an elite commander. Lin Feng was very satisfied. Glory of the 7 guilds. The fierce battle of the first battlefield was still vivid in everyone's minds. The Scarlet Billow Squad, the Miracle Garden martial artists, including Lightman, Lin Feng, Shadow Sword. Countless topics were brought up, and people enjoyed talking about them. With the arrival of the last day of September, the curtains to the third round of the Road of Glory competition officially opened. 5 spots were decided. Participating in the glory of the 12 guilds was not only for themselves, but also for the 7 guilds. Last year, Lightman and Shadow Sword both advanced, but they were already eliminated in the elimination round and couldn't enter the final round. It's very normal. Although they're the best of our 7 guilds, the other 11 guilds also have their peak experts advancing. Look at the Scarlet Billow Squad. This is the strength of the Miracle Gardens martial artists. The 2nd and 3rd guilds are much stronger than us, and the Glory of Glory team is several times stronger than us. Sir Lightman should have hope this year. In the first battlefield, he personally defeated the primordial demon of the Chiyu clan. Yes, Sir Lightman is much stronger than Shadow Sword. In the same battlefield, Shadow Sword was injured and returned. The difference in strength is obvious. There is also Sir Lin Feng, the new rising star. He is definitely stronger than Shadow Sword. Pung, pung, pung. Ing Jian attacked like a madman in the training field. His skinny body had astonishing explosive power. His perfect heavenly saint weapon, Black Ribbon, constantly blasted out Yin Shi Holy Chi. The dragon tattoo on his neck made him angry, but he had nowhere to vent. This time, he fell very miserably. After the accident of the first glory team, he took advantage of the situation and firmly suppressed Lightman under his feet. Everything was going smoothly, but who would have thought that he would be defeated in the first battlefield? Of the entire team, only he and Chuan Xinho escaped. The rest were all buried on the battlefield. No matter what, as the captain, he had to take responsibility. But what made Shadow Sword furious was that he had been defeated by the primordial demon of the Netherworld clan, but Lightman was better than the primordial demon of the Chiyu clan. Hateful, hateful. Shadow Sword's body was like a phantom, his movement technique perfect. His attainments in the way of the sword were second to none in the 7 glory teams. His eyes were bloodshot, and Shadow Sword was like a demon. I will not lose. I will not lose to you, Light Man. Shadow Sword's eyes cracked, his killing intent cold. A figure suddenly appeared in his mind. Shadow Sword's face filled with disdain. Lin Feng, what does he count for? The dark purple sword between his eyebrows trembled. I haven't settled the account with him for stealing my 2nd glory team's merit, yet he thinks he is worthy of being compared to me. Ridiculous. If I meet him, I will make him die miserably. Territory 111. Ta! Lin Feng stepped out of the cultivation room. At this point, Lin Feng was almost done cultivating. The light seal on his forehead flashed and disappeared. His hands streaked across the air as he smiled. His control of the light source was now at his whim. Unlike other martial artists, he had 10 times the amount of light source energy and had become a regular fighting force. The enhancement of his control also meant an increase in his combat strength. 5 spots, I must take one. Lin Feng's expression was calm. This time was different from the previous 2 rounds of the qualification battle. The great improvement in his strength gave him absolute confidence that he could pass the 3rd round, enter the competition of the 12 unions, and pass the knockout round. Obtain the qualification for the path of glory. Lin Feng stepped out of the territory. Chapter 856. No matter how small a mosquito was, it was still meat. Lin Feng naturally didn't plan to waste the last month's reward. Moreover, he also needed a foundation of combat strength points to be promoted to the Glory Squad. An ace captain had to reach the terrifying threshold of ADO. In terms of probability, it was 1 in 1,000. In other words, only 1 out of 10 ace soldiers could reach ADO points to be promoted to the Glory Squad. In the past 5 years, there had only been 1 light man. Even though Qin Tianxing's talent was extraordinary and he had always been firmly occupying the combat strength points as high as 7,833 points, it was more and more difficult to improve. Often, the first to break through was the strength level. With Qin Tianxing's potential, if nothing unexpected happened, he wouldn't exceed 79 points at most. His only hope was to be recommended to the Glory Squad. An ace captain with more than 70 points could be used, second only to the unrestricted special recruitment. But Lin Feng didn't need it. Relying on his own strength, the current Lin Feng had absolute confidence in breaking through the ADO shackles. If he couldn't even break through this, how could he talk about promotion? Strength level ADO. Profound meaning points 90 Bloodline grade 50 Heart refining points 89-88. The 4 combat strength points that couldn't be changed for the time being, especially the bloodline grade, were like a mountain pressing down on Lin Feng. However, for the current Lin Feng, boom, the origin of light instantly exploded, and Slayer Demon displayed its powerful strength. Lin Feng's combat strength sword, causing the entire space of the Glory World testing area to tremble violently. Compared to a month ago, his strength was like a completely different person. Strongest attack, 93-39. Under the dumbfounded gazes of the crowd, Lin Feng, who had obtained an astonishing amount of points, directly left. To him, this score wasn't surprising. 8065. With his impeccable combat strength points, Lin Feng broke through the ADO shackles, easily surpassing it with an average of 65 points. The best embodiment of comprehensive strength. Compared to Light Man, who was promoted to the Glory Army with 80 points, Lin Feng's score was more down-to-earth, making people admire him even more. I want to learn from Lord Lin Feng and break 80 points to enter the Glory Army. Yes, Lord Lin Feng is my goal. He gave those of us who weren't born with strong bloodlines hope. Even if it's just an ordinary bloodline, the low score of 50 can be made up in other places. Each of us has our own strengths and weaknesses. The key is how to use our strengths. Like Lord Lin Feng, I'll learn from his strong points to make up for my weak points. I'll accumulate the combat strength that I can raise in the future bit by bit. Peerless ordinary bloodline was only considered average among the trump card armies. Many martial artists possessed them. Combat strength points. Only the bloodline was destined to be unchangeable, but the other 4 attributes could be improved through hard work, and Lin Feng was only in the 7th order of the Saint Realm. In other words, his strength and rank points still had room for improvement. Therefore, Lin Feng's success greatly stimulated the other ace captains, because this was a goal and role model that they could see, a direction to work towards. Poppy. Lin Feng was ranked first with an indisputable result. His shocking combat strength points were unreachable. 8,065 points. Apart from the ranking coefficient of 1, it was 8,065 battle points. The battle points awarded were as high as 8,065 points. Although Lin Feng had gained 60,000 points this time, no one would complain about having too many battle points. It wasn't just strength. He had officially stepped into the Nirvana stage. Lord Lightman, you're going to spend a lot this time. Lin Feng smiled. If you can reach 80 battle points within 4 months or advance to the 3rd round of the Road of Glory battle, you'll be rewarded with 30,000 battle points and a 2nd-class military medal. And if you can reach 80 battle points within 2 months, you'll advance to the Road of Glory battle of the 12 Alliance. You'll be rewarded with 10,000 battle points and a 1st-class military medal. From the first day of August to the last day of September, exactly within 2 months, 80 battle points and a 1st-class military medal. Lin Feng's eyes flashed. During the elimination round of the 12 Alliance battle, my strength will increase a little. There's still hope for me to advance to the final round. But the most important thing is, first, I'll take one of the 5 spots. Begin. On the first day of October, the 3rd round of the Road of Glory battle was hosted by the White Ram General. It was also the last round of the Glory 7 Alliance's internal selection. This time, it wasn't only held in the Glory world, but it was also open to all elite soldiers. Before, only elite captains and above had the right to watch. Prepare for danger in times of peace. The White Ram General should have been stimulated by the first battlefield. Lin Feng came to the Glory world. There was already a sea of people outside. For those elite soldiers, this level of battle was something they couldn't see normally. The strongest and most talented fighters of the Glory 7 Alliance's competition included the 3 ace commanders. Commander He's injuries haven't healed yet. It'll be difficult for him to take one of the 5 spots. There's also Ing Jian. Not only is his body injured, but his mind is also affected. Whether or not he'll be able to fight is another question. Out of the 5 spots, only 2 people are guaranteed to take it. The first Glory Team's captain, Lightman, and the new ace commander, Yuan Shuang. Then what about Lin Feng, who just crossed the 80 barrier? Although he's someone I admire, in all fairness, Sir Lin Feng isn't at the 1st level. He's at the 2nd level with Vice Captain Meng Meng and Commander Wei. There's a chance, but there's no guarantee of success. If he meets Lightman and Yuan Shuang ahead of time, it'll be very troublesome. Listening to all kinds of voices along the way, Lin Feng was without a doubt the best information. He had a basic understanding of the situation of the 3rd round. I have 6 main competitors. They're right. Lightman and Commander Yuan Shuang are indeed stronger than me. I'll clash with them. Lin Feng thought of Lightman's battle with the primordial demon of the Qiyu clan. They were evenly matched. When he faced the primordial demon of the Qiyu clan, he suffered quite a bit. Even now, he couldn't be like Lightman, who is evenly matched with the primordial demon of the Qiyu clan. Below Lightman and Commander Yuan Shuang are Ing Jian and Commander He, who were injured in the first battlefield. Although the 2 of them are very strong, they suffered quite a bit of damage in the battle with the primordial demon. It'll be very difficult to determine the outcome of the battle. The true key is the next level. Vice Captain Meng Meng, Marquis Chuan Xen, and the others. If I defeat them, I'll be able to take one of the 5 spots. Lin Feng stepped into the Glory world. The final selection of the Glory 7 Alliance's competition officially began. To be continued. Chapter 857. Lin Feng didn't have the confidence to take 1st place. He knew very well that there was still a gap between his current strength and light guys. However, there were a total of 5 people who could advance to the next round. It could be said that other than Light Guy, who had been hiding his true strength, he was confident that he could take on everyone else, including the 3 ace generals. The Chaos team had been waiting for a long time. Looking at the familiar faces, Lin Feng smiled. Manzi, Little Xia, Blowing Snow, Wu Daozi. The 4 of them entered from the 33 continents just like him. Now, they could finally stand firm in the Nirvana world. He glanced into the distance. Clad in battle armor, Emohua was among the elite soldiers. His short flaming hair still carried a sense of pride and heroism. After a long time, he looked even more solemn. After experiencing the battlefield, Missouri Hua was getting stronger and stronger. He's stubborn. He likes to be stubborn. Shimanzi glanced at Emohua. Blowing Snow said, Emohua sees Brother Lin as a competitor. Lin Feng nodded. Let him be. Everyone has the right to choose their own path. Besides, this may not be a bad thing for him. Lin Feng smiled and waved at Emohua. A man should have pride, self-esteem, pressure, and drive. Let's go. Lin Feng said goodbye to everyone. Good luck, Brother Lin. Blowing Snow said, Make a name for our Chaos team, Captain. Wu Daozi smiled. Kill them all. Yixia's eyes were full of fighting spirit. Are you confident? Shimanzi's beautiful eyes gazed at Lin Feng as her cherry lips parted slightly. 100%. Lin Feng smiled. He waved his hand and entered the passage. In the glory world. At this time, there were already 6 figures standing there. The moment Lin Feng entered, 2 sharp and cold gazes were already fixed on him. The second glory team, Captain Ing Jian and Captain Chuan Xinho. Lin Feng knew that they were hostile. He didn't care. The first and second glory teams were like fire and water. Besides, he did things according to the rules and didn't cross the line. Being hostile to the second glory team was nothing. If it was before, he might be worried. But now Shua. Lin Feng's eyes shone as he stared at Ing Jian, the legendary second strongest person in the glory team. He really wanted to test just how strong he was. He glanced at the dragon tattoo on Ing Jian's neck. It was the unique bloodline of the AO family. However, he didn't know which of the 4 AO families Ing Jian belonged to and whether or not he knew AO Jianwei. However, no matter whether Ing Jian knew AO Jianwei or not, he didn't have any good impression of the AO clan's clansmen. Chi! Sharp sword Chi shot out. Ing Jian frowned, his eyes filled with anger. He felt that he had been provoked by a mere ace captain. A tiger that has fallen to the plains will be bullied by dogs. Ing Jian gnashed his teeth. The sword intent that surged out from his body immediately attracted the attention of the surrounding people. Suddenly, a majestic aura spread out, directly neutralizing the shadow sword's power. Lightman smiled and walked over. You're here. Lin Feng also smiled. He shifted his attention away from Ing Jian and looked at Lightman and Meng Meng, but he did not see Goddess Wakaman. Ruan Meng has been in seclusion all this time and did not come with us. Lightman said, she was provoked this time. It is rare to see her care so much about someone. Don't look at how weak she is. She is very competitive. She has been working hard to compete with you. That's right. I don't know why. Meng Meng interrupted. As far as I know, Ruan Meng won the only time you 2 competed. Furthermore, Ruan Meng had been suppressing you in the brilliant star list of the 33 continents until she entered the Nirvana world. Lightman smiled and said, Ruan Meng should have seen Lin Feng's potential, so she sees him as an opponent. I have never seen anyone improve so quickly. In just a few months, his strength is already comparable to Ruan Meng and Meng Meng. No way. Meng Meng put her hands on her hips and looked unconvinced. Lord Lightman is overpraising me, Lin Feng said modestly. He didn't explain too much. Ruan Meng saw him as an opponent. Wasn't he the same? From the 33 continents to the Nirvana world, the last battle of the brilliant star battle was still fresh in his mind, and it constantly reminded him. That day he won the rules, but in fact he was completely defeated by Ruan Meng. This time, he wanted to win it back fair and square. 2 in a group. Lin Feng naturally went to Lightman and Meng Meng's side. On the other side, Ying Jian and Chuan Xianho's faces were cold, and they were in an extremely bad mood. Originally, 4 of them had advanced, but Go Xianho and Yu Gue both died on the battlefield. Now, the number of people participating in the final battle was 1 less than the number 1 glory team. Soon, Qin Tiansheng and Wu Qi, who had advanced from the Ace Corps, entered one after another. After that, He Jin, Wei Xinyuan, and Yuan Shuang, the 3 Ace commanders, also arrived. 10 warriors who had advanced in the second round, including the 2 captains, Guang Nan and Ying Jian, as well as the 3 Ace commanders, made a total of 15 people. However, because Go Xianho and Yu Gue died on the battlefield, there were only 13 people left. This was not good news for the second glory team, but for the other participants, it was undoubtedly a great increase in their hopes, especially Qin Tiansheng, Wu Qi, Hong Bao, and the others who had little hope of advancing. At this time, they were all rubbing their hands, waiting for the final battle to begin. The atmosphere was tense. "They're here." Lin Feng's heart skipped a beat. In the distance, 4 silhouettes flew over. 2 were familiar, and 2 were unfamiliar. The White Ram Army's chief's eagle eyes were still cold. Beside him was a man and a woman. He couldn't sense any aura from them. The man was handsome like a painting. He held a black feather fan in his hand. Above the feather fan, there was a ferocious scaled crow that looked like a ferocious beast. The woman was dressed in plain white clothes. Her hair was tied up, and she looked ethereal. "They should be Yiwu Junju and Yinho Junju," Lin Feng said softly in his heart. Yiwu Junju's reputation was out there. He had hosted the previous Path of Glory battles, so his appearance was very clear. Yinho Junju was very mysterious. Just like his name, he was like a cloud. His whereabouts were unpredictable. The 3 of them were the strongest behind the Glory 7 Alliance. It was not surprising that the 3 army commanders were here. After all, the last round of selection was related to the face of the Glory 7 Alliance. They would represent the Glory 7 Alliance in the competition. What really surprised Lin Feng was the person behind Yinho Junju, Goddess Wakaman. Lin Feng was surprised. "Greetings, Army Commander." Everyone bowed. This was respect for the strong. Every one of them had passed the Grand Nirvana stage and could extend their lifespan to 1,000 years. Even if Yinho Junju looked like he was only 30 or 40 years old, Lin Feng clearly knew that Yinho Junju was older than Yiwu Junju and the White Ram Corps commander combined. Before the 3rd round, I will announce a piece of news. The White Ram Corps commander's eyes lit up. Chapter 858. Ruan Meng has officially left the 1st Glory Team. The words of the White Ram Army's leader startled everyone. In particular, Light Man and Meng Meng were even more surprised, but they had no idea beforehand. At this time, the tone of the White Ram Army's leader suddenly changed. Because she has become Yinho Junju's disciple, according to the rules, she can no longer participate in the Path of Glory qualification battle. But the White Ram Army's leader hesitated slightly and looked at Yinho Junju, showing great respect for her. "Let me say it." Yinho Junju's voice was flat, and her kind eyes swept over the crowd. "My disciple is unwilling to give up halfway and insists on participating in the 3rd round of the qualification battle. So now she's not really my disciple and is still qualified to participate." Everyone suddenly understood. Lin Feng nodded. It was no longer meaningful to become a disciple of the army leader and participate in the Path of Glory qualification battle. First, there was no need to compete for fame. Second, it was unfair to other participants to have the army leader as a backer. Third, the army leader had the privilege to arrange for his disciples to enter the Path of Glory to cultivate. Therefore, his disciples did not need to participate in the Path of Glory qualification battle. The 3rd round of the qualification battle is still presided over by the White Ram Army's leader. Yiwu Junju and I are just spectators. As for Ruan Meng, Yinho Junju looked kind and said indifferently, "If she fails to advance, it will be counted. If she gets into the top 5, she will be given the 6th place." Everyone was in an uproar. Qin Tiansheng and Chuan Xianmarqi were happy. Their strength was in the middle. One less competitor meant that the possibility of advancing was higher. Insist on participating, Lin Feng looked at Goddess Wakaman. At this time, the latter also looked at him. Without saying anything, Lin Feng could feel that he was probably the reason why Goddess Wakaman insisted on participating. Like molten fire, she was a very proud person. It seems that today, the battle a year ago, let's end it. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. In this battle, not only was Goddess Wakaman waiting for it, but he was also looking forward to it. From 15 to 12, the probability of advancing from 12 to 5 had increased to 41.7%, which was quite high. At this time, the spectators in the Ice Crystal Sacred Land were also amazed. Although there was no sound, with their strength, they could clearly read his lips. Amazing. You've become Yinho Juanju's disciple, Taoist Wu sighed. He was once very close to Goddess Wakaman in the rankings of the 33 continents, but now the gap between their strength was only widening. I've heard that Yinho Juanju is already 800 years old. Snowstorm said, he's the oldest player in Glory. He's the strongest general. Shi Manzi wrinkled her nose. She had never liked Goddess Wakaman. She's just born into a good family. That's nothing. Yi Xia raised his head and said, Brother Lin is the one who is truly amazing, relying on himself step by step to get to where he is today. In my life, I only admire Brother Lin. Just wait and see. Brother Lin will definitely be stronger than her in the future. We might not have to wait until the future. Shi Manzi's beautiful eyes flickered. At this moment, the crowd was in an uproar. The drawing of lots had officially begun. Double elimination matches are very exciting. Taoist Wu said, it's also the least likely to be an upset. Shi Manzi said softly, as long as you have strength, even if you're unlucky, you'll at least have a second chance. Drawing lots is very fair. Snowstorm said. Taoist Wu laughed. It just seems fair. It's starting. The drawing of lots had begun. The 13 people directly drew balls with the same number. There was only one ball with the number 7 ball. Hong Bao and Ji Jishuan went up first. One of them drew the number 3 ball, while the other drew the number 6 ball. As elite generals, the two of them were extremely competitive. In the history of Glory's 7 Alliance, the number of elite generals that made it to the 12 Alliance could be counted on one hand. Qin Tiansheng and Wu Qi immediately drew balls. As elite generals, they had more history than elite generals, but that wasn't certain. The two of them weren't necessarily stronger than Hong Bao and Ji Jishuan. There was only one elite captain who had a higher chance of advancing, and that was Lin Feng. As Lin Feng drew the ball, everyone's eyes focused on him, including White Ram Army Lord, Yiwu Junju, and Yinho Junju, especially Yinho Junju. As Ruo Meng's master, she knew who Ruo Meng was participating for. She wanted to fight Lin Feng again. Ball 4. Lin Feng drew the number ball. Everyone held their breaths. 5 balls had been drawn, and none of them were duplicates. In other words, the first round of the double elimination system was destined to be a competition between the strong and the weak. Chuan Xin Marquis drew the number 6 ball against Ji Jishuan. Meng, she drew the number 1 ball against Qin Tiansheng. Ying Jian drew the number 7 ball against Wu Qi. Lightman drew the only free ball, the number 7 ball. Hua. Everyone sighed, feeling both envious and lucky. After all, he was bound to lose against Lightman. It was undoubtedly good news that he drew the number 8 ball. Ruo Meng stepped forward and glanced at Lin Feng with her beautiful eyes. She did not linger and immediately drew the number ball. Number 4, White Ram Army Lord said. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Lightman and Meng opened their mouths. The two knew that there was a small grudge between Lin Feng and Goddess Wakaman, but they did not expect to bump into each other like this. As the old saying goes, enemies are bound to meet. Interesting. Lightman laughed. It's not interesting at all. It's not good for either of them to lose. The winner will probably be a Pyrrhic victory. Meng curled her lips. She was not happy that the two of them met in the first round. But for Goddess Wakaman and Lin Feng, this is what they want to see the most. Lightman said, in the first round, both of them will be in peak condition, so it's the fairest. It's not a bad thing to end their long-cherished wish with this battle. It was exactly what they wanted. Lin Feng also thought the same. If he had to fight with Goddess Wakamin, he would not be able to avoid it. He hoped to meet her in the first round. If he lost, he would be willing to lose. If he won, he would win completely. On the other side, Goddess Wakamin looked at Yunho Junju and nodded her head. How could there be so many coincidences in the world? She knew that this situation was arranged by her master. Thank you, Goddess Wakamin said softly. Ice Crystal's sacred land. Heated discussions were going on. After the drawing of lots, it was the 2-on-2 battles. Every battle was a battle between experts. There was even a battle between 2 ace army commanders, which made people look forward to it. There's nothing to see in the first and second round. Meng Meng and Ying Jian will definitely win. The third round is the same. Although Hong Bao is the strongest elite army commander, there is still a gap between him and an ace army commander. Only the fourth and fifth round is worth watching. Lin Feng against Goddess Wakamin, and Commander He against Commander Wei. These two matches are the most exciting. I think Lin Feng and Commander He will win. I think Goddess Wakamin is more powerful. Commander Wei has hidden his strength well. He might not be weaker than Commander He. Goddess Wakamin is a member of the Glory Team. Now, she is even taken in as a disciple by Yunho Junju. Think about it. If she doesn't have the potential, will Yunho Junju take a liking to her? Yes, Goddess Wakamin might become a dark horse in the third round. Chapter 859. The same glory world, the same people, and the same decisive battle space. After a year and a month, Lin Feng and Goddess Wakamin met again, as if to make up for the regret of the battle a year ago. Ever since he entered the Nemo planet, Lin Feng had only been defeated twice. The first time was when he had just entered the Nemo planet because he was weak and had narrowly escaped death in the Jinglan mountain range. The second time was during the Battle of Glorious Star, when he had faced Fairy Ruoming. In that battle, he won by the rules and lost by strength. I think that the championship should be deserved, and I also hope, next time, I will be able to defeat her fair and square with my true strength. The words that day were still vivid in his mind, and Lin Feng had never forgotten them. He had been working hard until now when he met Goddess Wakamin again. Lin Feng knew very well that the Goddess Wakamin, who had excellent aptitude and potential, had a limitless future if she became Yunho Junju's disciple. Her strength would definitely advance by leaps and bounds, but at least for now, I will definitely win. Lin Feng moved the Demon Slayer in his hand, his heart full of fighting spirit. After a year, he already had enough strength to stand in front of Goddess Wakamin. The third round of double elimination matches soon began. From a first to the sixth, the first 6 matches were carried out in order. In the first match, Meng Meng faced Qin Tiansheng. They thought it would be a one-sided match, but no one expected Qin Tiansheng to be evenly matched with Meng Meng. Controlling several flying swords, Meng Meng's attacks were tricky and sharp, but Qin Tiansheng had already set up an impenetrable defense from the beginning. Perfect heaven stage, holy treasure. Lin Feng was secretly shocked. He did not see Qin Tiansheng use it in the second round, but this time it suddenly appeared. In the second round, Qin Tiansheng fought very fiercely. In the end, he barely defeated Black Impermanence of the Second Glory Team by an extremely small margin. If he had such a perfect heaven stage, holy treasure, there would be no reason for him to hide it until now. After all, a defensive holy treasure was not as unexpected as an offensive holy treasure. Moreover, Qin Tiansheng was almost eliminated in the last round. If he had this perfect heaven rank holy treasure, not only could he easily defeat Black Impermanence, even defeating Hong Bao would not be a problem. He could get first place in the 5th group. Lin Feng glanced around, including Lightman and the 3 ace army commanders. All of them were slightly surprised, but Ying Jian and Chuan Xian Ho of the Second Glory Team didn't show any difference. Both of them were calm and composed. Lin Feng instantly understood. That day, the First Glory Team failed their mission. This time, the second-place Glory Team will definitely get a special spot as well. Lin Feng pondered. Qin Tiansheng, whose strength has always been ranked first in the Ace Army, must be the top target of the Second Glory Squad. Jian comes from the AO family and is rich. It's not surprising that he can take out a perfect heaven-ranked saint artifact. Looks like Vice Captain Meng Meng is in trouble this time. Lin Feng shook his head. As the vice captain of the First Glory Squad, Meng Meng must have been thoroughly analyzed and understood by the Second Glory team. Although she was the strongest Saint Force cultivator in the Glory Army, she had obvious weaknesses. Her attacks are tricky and all-pervasive. But it's a pity that her attack power is insufficient and her Saint Force is lacking. Lin Feng soon saw that Meng Meng had no way to deal with Qin Tianqing's rock-steady defense of the Saint Treasure. It was like hitting a turtle shell with a stick. Either the explosive power of the Saint Force is increased, or the quality of the flying sword is improved, or the cultivation of the heaven rank is comparable to a beautiful warrior. If not, Meng Meng is going to lose this round. Lin Feng made a judgment, especially since Meng Meng had lost the initiative and consumed a lot of Saint Force. The longer the time dragged on, the more disadvantageous it would be for her. Admitting defeat is the best way. Lin Feng wanted to, but he didn't have enough strength. Everything in the decisive battle space was sealed, and Meng Meng could only rely on herself. Losing one round was not terrible, but there were still several rounds. Once Meng Meng and Qin Tiansheng were exhausted, it would be very disadvantageous for her. After all, the recovery of Saint Force was much slower than that of Saint Qi. And although the decisive battle space did not result in death, but the injury was real. She did not hear Lin Feng's thoughts. Meng Meng's personality was also competitive. As the deputy captain of the Second Glory team, she was not willing to lose to Qin Tiansheng, a mere ace lieutenant. But like a snake being caught by its weak point, Meng Meng, whose strength was completely restrained, was finally slowly exhausted by Qin Tianqing's turtle shell defense. In the end, she was defeated. The Ice Crystal Sacred Realm was in an uproar. No one expected such a small upset to appear in the first round. Infuriating to lose like this, Yi Xia was deeply indignant. They were both Saint Force cultivators. Meng Meng's defeat made him feel deeply. She was completely restrained. Qin Tiansheng knows Meng Meng very well, and he accurately grasped her weakness. Wu Daozi shook his head. Unless Meng Meng has a strong enough attack treasure, the result will not change no matter how many times they fight. Shi Manzi smiled and said, Little Xia might have won the battle just now. Wu Daozi said, but Little Xia has met a strong-willed expert, such as our captain, and he is completely helpless. Yi Xia said in distress, that's how Saint Force cultivators are. They can win against opponents much stronger than them, but they can also lose to opponents much weaker than them. Wu Daozi said, so Saint Force cultivators' control technique is the mainstream. No, Saint Force cultivators who walk the path of illusion are usually stronger. Shi Manzi looked at Yi Xia. Control technique is the middle of the road, but to walk the path of illusion requires extremely high aptitude and talent. So it is very difficult to cultivate both control technique and illusion technique, but illusion technique can often be cultivated at the same time to make up for the weakness of fluctuating strength. Yi Xia nodded heavily, deeply moved. A single attack method was easy to be countered. For example, if Meng Meng had an illusion attack, the situation might be completely different. Qin Tianqing's face was full of excitement. Winning the first round and getting a good start was especially important to his path of advancement. What he lost was only heaven and earth energy, and he was not injured. This was a huge advantage for the third round of continuous battles. After all, injuries recovered slowly, but heaven and earth energy could be recovered quickly with the Saint Fruit and Saint Crystal. On the other side, Meng Meng's face was pale as she sat cross-legged and consumed the Saint Fruit to recover her Saint Force. However, compared to heaven and earth energy, Saint Force recovered much slower. What a pity. Lin Feng looked at Meng Meng and sighed in his heart. If Meng Meng had admitted defeat earlier, she would have had a chance to reach the 5 advancement spots. But now the chances were very slim. Without any time to rest, the second round began immediately. Jian against Wu Qi. This was a battle without any suspense. Even if Jian was injured in the first battlefield, he was the only one in the Glory Army who was comparable to Light Man. As expected, even after using all his strength, Wu Qi still lost miserably. Then the third round began. The White Ram Army's chief said. Everyone's eyes were focused on Lin Feng and Goddess Wakaman. The battle finally began. To be continued. Chapter 860. He entered the decisive battle space. It was as if he was in a dream a year ago. The scenes of that day appeared in Lin Feng's mind. In the Battle of Glory Star, he had tried his best and seized the initiative, but he was like a mortal reaching out his hand to touch a high and mighty fairy, unable to reach her. Back then, he was one level weaker than Goddess Wakaman. But now Clang. Lin Feng drew out Demon Slayer. The lightsaber was perfectly compatible with his body. A perfect heavenly saint weapon. He was better than Hei Tung in every aspect. He had been practicing his saber for the past few days, and his control of Demon Slayer was already very good. Every attack of Demon Slayer contained the concept of light, and its power was amazing. Bang! They were evenly matched. Goddess Wakaman's sword also released a strong sword intent. You sword? Lin Feng was slightly surprised. Fairy Ruoming's sword had not changed. It was still the Yu sword from back then. However, the Yu sword should be a high-quality heavenly saint artifact. But now, it felt like it was not inferior to his Demon Slayer saber. There was no time to think. The battle was as quick as lightning, and as soon as they touched. Qi. Sharp sword Qi tore through the air. She had learned from her mistakes. Back then, Fairy Ruoming had been attacked by Lin Feng and had made the first move to gain the upper hand. This had led to a series of waves of attacks, one after another. Otherwise, she would have won easily. This time, Fairy Ruoming naturally wouldn't fall at the same place twice. Look, Lin Feng stood calmly. He did not even activate his titanium grade body, because he was the same as Goddess Wakaman, level 7 of the Sage Realm. In terms of physical fitness, even if he did not activate his titanium grade body, he was much better than Goddess Wakaman. Goddess Wakaman's sword was very fast. Her swordsmanship had reached the peak, and her strength was extremely strong. Back then, I was already at level 1 of the Sword Heart. Now, Lin Feng was not arrogant. With a shout, the Tyrant Saber world exploded like a tsunami. The level 1 perfect Saber Heart was driven by the Bloodline Overlord, and the perfect fusion of strength instantly reached level 2 perfect. Whoosh! Goddess Wakaman's beautiful eyes flashed with sword light. His expression turned slightly ugly. In terms of strength, she was at a disadvantage. Her sword heart was at the second level of refinement. Aurora's bloodline exploded, and Goddess Wakaman's body was covered in a layer of white light. Like an angel of light descending, Goddess Wakaman's profound sword heart was like a hot knife cutting through butter. Although her power realm was slightly inferior, her sword's abundance was like a needle piercing through. It was similar to Lin Feng's Overlord battle prowess. New Storm. In the face of Goddess Wakaman's attack, Lin Yun was stunned. Lin Feng took a defensive stance. The wind howled, and the amplification of the whirlpool body made the New Storm even more powerful. Feeling the strong light concept in front of him surrounding him, Lin Feng looked indifferent. With the saber as the center, the New Storm was impenetrable. In his mind, he suddenly remembered the fierce battle that day. Saberheart was being suppressed. The Thunder Dragon Saint Qi was suppressed. His skills were also suppressed. In addition to the Holy Power's surprise victory, the Dragon Abyss Pearl exploded. He had no other advantages. But now, in terms of Strength Realm, he was slightly better. His skills were not inferior, and his comprehension of the profound meaning was stronger. His body was completely crushed. Whoosh whoosh. The New Storm took away Fairy Ruoming's attack, and Lin Feng gained the upper hand from the very beginning. Facing Fairy Ruoming's storm-like attacks, Lin Feng easily dispelled every one of them. Although Fairy Ruoming's Aurora bloodline was abnormally powerful, her attainments in light were lacking. Lin Feng was the true expert. New Broken Sea. In an instant, it was enough for Lin Feng. Slayer Demon's blade seemed to have emerged from the storm, and the power of the blade directly shattered the monstrous waves, cutting them in half. Today's new broken sea. Not only was there a high-level light, profound meaning, whirlpool change, but there was also a hint of white crane glimmer mixed in. It was not fused, but attached to the blade move. But it was enough. Chi, the fastest blade, the new broken sea, was already extremely fast, and the additional light, profound meaning, white crane glimmer was even more terrifying. Goddess Wakaman did not have time to react. A white light flashed in front of her eyes, and her body almost reflexively dodged. Chi, a cluster of hair was cut off, turning into powder floating in the air. Goddess Wakaman's face was pale. Boom! Lin Feng instantly changed from defense to offense. What a fast blade! Lightman praised in surprise. Both of them cultivated the path of light, and both of them were recognized by the light origin energy. Lightman was amazed by Lin Feng's light attainments. In just a short month, he actually learned the fine control of the origin energy. Lightman boasted of his extraordinary talent, but it took him nearly half a year to master this technique. He could see that Lin Feng's blade was fast, not only because of the enhancement of the perfect profound meaning, but also because of the light origin. Even if it was just a tiny bit, it could make the power of the profound meaning more than 10 times. This was why experts who had crossed the Grand Nirvana realm were far stronger than Nirvana realm experts. Only by grasping the origin energy could one be considered a true expert. He is Lin Feng. Yinho Juanju's eyes were filled with interest. Yes, he is the biggest winner of this path of glory. The White Ram Army Lord was clearly very satisfied. Yunmu, it seems that your disciple is going to lose. Iwu Junju smiled as he waved his fan. Military Commander Yunjian smiled faintly and said, "Not necessarily." HM? The White Ram Army Lord was surprised, and then suddenly realized. Could it be that Yunmu, you gave her some treasure? Since she has become a disciple, she should have a gift. Yinho Junju said. Iwu Junju laughed loudly. Yunmu's gift is not small, if I'm not wrong. It should be the heaven-rank sacred treasure God Puppet. It is perfectly compatible with her bloodline. Other than the God Puppet, I can't find a more suitable treasure, unless Yunmu is unwilling to part with it. Yunmu said faintly, "Do I look so stingy?" Ha! Iwu Junju laughed. Then Lin Feng is in trouble. The battle was intense. Lin Feng, who had switched from defense to offense, instantly took the initiative. The world of the Tyrant Blade covered the entire area, and Lin Feng's speed and blade technique completely overwhelmed Goddess Wakaman. The power of the Taiyu Holy Chi had completely defeated Goddess Wakaman's Holy Chi. If she did not have the bloodline of Aurora, the victory would have been set. Even so, it was already a one-sided situation. The Ice Crystal Sacred Realm was shocked again and again. Before, they thought it was a battle of equal strength, but they did not expect Lin Feng to be so strong that he completely overwhelmed Goddess Wakaman. Last year, Goddess Wakaman, who had been stunning for a while, had skyrocketed in the Glory Army and become famous. But now, she was powerless. Boom! Lin Feng's blade fell, and Goddess Wakaman's white dress was stained with blood, and she retreated like a kite with a broken string. Good. Yixia clenched her fists excitedly. Captain is going to win. Wu Daozi was overjoyed. Chueshua shook her head and said in surprise, Goddess Wakaman doesn't seem to be as strong as I thought. Silly sister. Shimanzi smiled and looked at the ice crystal. It's not that Ruoming is weak, but Lin Feng now. Too strong. Annoying, my daughter has had a fever for 2 days, but it's still 39 degrees. Chapter 861. Everyone stared at him. While they were shocked by Lin Feng's strength, they also felt a little sorry for Goddess Wakaman's defeat. The beautiful figure flew backward like a fairy descending to the mortal world. At this time, as long as Lin Feng pursued quickly, he could easily defeat Goddess Wakaman. The expected pursuit of victory did not happen. Lin Feng floated in midair, looking at Goddess Wakaman in the distance with bright eyes, as if he had turned into an ice sculpture, as if he was waiting for something. At this time, if one looked carefully, they would find that the flashing white light around Goddess Wakaman's body did not weaken, but was constantly strengthening. The bloodline of Aurora. Although it was only the first bloodline awakening, the bloodline of Aurora was also the limit of the peerless level, and it was a first-class bloodline in the Nemo planet. It could be said that the bloodline of Aurora was the strongest bloodline in the path of light. It's not the second bloodline awakening. Lin Feng knew very well that at the last moment when he fought with Goddess Wakaman, he felt a familiar energy descending. It was like a sprout seed growing bit by bit, gradually blossoming and bearing fruit. At this time, if he directly defeated Goddess Wakaman, then this sprout seed's blossoming and bearing fruit would be erased. Aurora shone brightly, enveloping Goddess Wakaman. Like the darling of light, Goddess Wakaman was surrounded by holy light, and endless light gathered on her body, making her solemn and holy. Guided by the bloodline of Aurora, Goddess Wakaman, who had exhausted her potential in the battle, finally gained the recognition of the light source. The light core was about to be condensed. Goddess Wakaman broke through in battle. Yinho Junju, who was watching the battle, had a look of admiration. This child is not bad. Iwu Junju waved his fan and said, not only does she have the bloodline of Aurora, but she has also gained the recognition of the light source in the Saint stage and condensed the light core. I believe that under your guidance, it will not be a problem for her to awaken the second bloodline in the Nirvana stage. Her future is limitless. I'm not talking about Ruan Meng. Yinho Junju said, it's Lin Feng. At such a young age, he already has the air of a great general. At the same time, he also obtained the acknowledgement of the origin energy. He must have sensed the arrival of Ruan Meng's fortuitous opportunity. That's why he gave Ruan Meng a chance to break through. The chief of the White Ram Legion said coldly, being merciful to the enemy on the battlefield is being cruel to yourself. This method is too foolish. Iwu Junju gently waved his fan. Bai Jia, you are exaggerating. Isn't it just an insignificant match? Why should we care so much about winning or losing? The White Ram Army's leader said in a low voice, it's because of your insignificance that our Glory Alliance 7 has never entered the final ranking competition of the 12 Alliance tournament. Wow, blame the latrine pit for not being able to poop? Army Commander Iwu shouted. It's not your fault. The White Ram Legion's chief asked. That's enough. How old are you? Still bickering like children. Yinho Junju said, even if Lin Feng attacks, Ruan Meng can rely on the heaven-grade Sacred Treasure God to avoid the attack. No matter what, Ruan Meng obtained the acknowledgement of the origin of light at the right time. With the God's eye and the origin of light, I believe that she will have the last laugh. It will be her. First, the White Ram Legion's chief snorted. That's Lin Feng's own fault. Lin Feng naturally couldn't hear the discussion outside, but he followed the voice in his heart. He and Goddess Wakaman were friends, not enemies. Back then, they had even fought side by side against Ao Jianwei. In addition, it was thanks to her that Xian Yin entered the Celestial Pavilion. Lin Feng was grateful to Goddess Wakaman. Fighting was one thing, but love was another. He believed that if their roles were switched, and now that the opportunity had arrived, the one to break through was him, Goddess Wakaman would definitely make the same decision as him. Because other than being competitors, they were also friends. The origin of light. I have it too. Moreover, my control is stronger, and I have more origin energy. Lin Feng smiled slightly. In terms of the heart of light, the origin of light energy, he was naturally not afraid of Goddess Wakaman, who had just broken through. Ice Crystal Sacred Realm. Lin Feng is playing with fire. He's dead for sure. Goddess Wakaman's strength is already very strong. If she obtains the origin of light, how strong will she be? Served him right for losing. He actually still has the heart to be protective of the fairer sex in the middle of a great battle. Damn, the elite soldiers were discussing animatedly. They had been killing on the battlefield all year round. Naturally, they scoffed at Lin Feng's actions. However, the members of the Chaos team were completely different. Although they didn't really understand Lin Feng's thoughts, they supported Lin Feng unreservedly. Captain is really kind, Wu Daozi praised. So what? Brother Lin himself has the origin of light. Even if Goddess Wakaman breaks through, she won't be able to gain any advantage. Yixia Ong said confidently, Brother Lin will definitely win this battle. Blowing Snow lightly nodded. Brother Lin probably doesn't want to have an unfair advantage. Shi Manzi's lips curled up slightly, and she softly said, since he dares to let Ruoming break through, it means he has absolute confidence in winning this battle. Lin Feng patiently waited. The fairy's white light shone to the extreme, and the heart of light formed on her flawless forehead. The convergence of Aurora's bloodline caused the heart of light to suddenly change. It seemed to be stronger than a normal origin of light, and the energy it contained was even purer. Goddess Wakaman, who was wrapped in the light energy, was even more beautiful. Her title of fairy was not undeserved. Right now, she was like a holy angel, and the aura she exuded made people admire her. The elite soldiers were all stunned, and they looked at Lin Feng with complicated expressions. However, Goddess Wakaman did not hold back. The origin of light exploded, causing Aurora's bloodline to shine even brighter. Pung, pung, pung. The sound of an explosion rang out. White light condensed in Goddess Wakaman's hand, turning into white mist. The aura of light enveloped the entire area, and a majestic divine beast of light suddenly appeared. It raised its head to the sky and let out a long roar. A pair of bright eyes suddenly shot out a white aurora and blasted towards Lin Feng. The shocking explosion caused everyone to feel suffocated. The earth shook, and the divine beast's aura was enormous. The true terror had arrived. The white aurora was fast. Lin Feng instantly turned into a stream of light, and the white crane's afterimage appeared. No matter how fast the divine beast of light, white aurora, was, it could only catch Lin Feng's afterimage, and could not catch the main body. White crane glimmer. Yinho Junju was surprised. Lin Feng only used a small part of his saber moves, but he used 100% of it on himself. Although he had only comprehended the second catalog, Lin Feng's current speed was extremely shocking. He did not even need to use his titanium-grade body. No matter how strong a treasure was, it still required the wielder's strength. The heaven-ranked holy treasure could not display its true power in the hands of Goddess Wakaman. Against opponents of the same level, it was always successful. However, Lin Feng's strength had already completely surpassed Goddess Wakaman's. Whoosh! Lin Feng's figure suddenly appeared, bringing with him the light of Demon Slayer, invincible. The seventh style of the seven limits, devour the heavens. After finishing this chapter, I brought my daughter to get an intravenous drip. Chapter 862. It was an extremely domineering move. It was the strongest move of the seven limits, and the only one that could only be performed by comprehending the saber heart. The first 6 moves of the 7 limits were on one level, while the 7th one was on another. The 6th move, Destroy the Earth, was the beginning of the saber heart's mystery. The 7th move, Swallow the Sky, was the true integration of the saber heart's power. The stronger the saber heart, the stronger the power. It was driven by the saber heart and the power realm. This move had nothing to do with the profound meaning. Lin Feng had tried it many times. It was only when he saw the primordial heavenly demon of the Qiyu clan perform it that he truly understood. This was the saber move of the demon clan. It was the true essence of the power technique. It was performed with the power realm and the power of the heart explosion. The integration of the profound meaning could indeed increase the power, but it was limited to the external enhancement. For example, a treasured saber could be dipped in poison to make the attack stronger and stranger. It could also be imbued with the profound meaning of the holy light to greatly increase the attack power of the demon clan. However, one could not change the treasured saber itself. This was the difference. Domineering saber world. With the integration of the essence of Lin Feng's saber technique, it exploded with the strongest power. A white crane light condensed in the void. The faint light was dense. Instantly, The light heart mark on Lin Feng's forehead shone brightly. The surging energy of the origin of light surged out like a tide. Fine control could make the origin of light extremely fine. It could be used 3 times, 5 times, or 10 times. Similarly, it could be used 3 times, 5 times, or 10 times. It could be used once. This was because it belonged to the same technique. Control. Boom. The saber move, swallow the sky explosion, had only one essence of the power technique, and that was its vastness. It was majestic and domineering, as if it could swallow the sky. It was a perfect match for Lin Feng's domineering saber world. With the endless origin of light, the saber move swallow the sky raised its power to a whole new level. The perfect heavenly saint weapon, slay demon, driven by the origin of light, it wielded 100% of the heavenly saint weapon's power. In an instant, Lin Feng's saber enveloped the divine beast of light, Shunho. Its white aurora looked so small at this moment, although it had the support of the origin of light of Goddess Wakamin, and even though it had a stronger control of light than Lin Feng's. At this moment, in the face of absolute power, bang, it was completely engulfed. This included Goddess Wakamin's origin of light. Her Yu sword, Aurora bloodline, and sword moves were unleashed by Lin Feng's strongest power. Under everyone's dumbfounded gazes, the Goddess Wakamin, who had just been acknowledged by the origin of light, disappeared without a trace. Devour the heavens. He made a move. Everything was destroyed. These are the 7 limits of the Qiyu clan. Yinho Junju was shocked. Iwu Junju waved his black fan and clicked his tongue in wonder. It's rare to see a human being able to wield the 7 limits of the Qiyu clan to such an extent. This little guy not only has a powerful source point, his light perception is also astonishing, and his attainments in the path of strength are also not shallow. No wonder Ruan Ming sees him as a formidable opponent. Yinho Junju nodded lightly. Her disciple's defeat did not make her feel embarrassed or frustrated. With her vast experience, she knew the importance of opponents and competition. She also knew that failure was not a bad thing for a martial artist, especially for a martial artist with a strong sense of competition and strong self-esteem, because this would only cause her to work hard to improve herself and turn pressure into motivation. Don't you find it strange? The White Ram military lord said with a frown. Yinho Junju's eyes were like torches. You are referring to his origin of light. The White Ram military lord nodded. Ruan Ming has the Aurora bloodline and has been acknowledged by the origin of light to form the heart of light. The origin of light energy obtained is 50% stronger than normal people. But Lin Feng's origin of light just now defeated Ruan Ming with absolute power. His origin of light is at least twice as strong as Ruan Ming, which means more than 3 times as strong as normal people. Iwu Junju was deep in thought. Aurora bloodline is already the top of the origin of light bloodlines. 5 times is already the limit at the first bloodline awakening, unless he has obtained the acknowledgement of 3 Grand Daos of light or 2 Grand Daos of light bloodlines are shocking. Yinho Junju said, this doesn't count for much. In this year's Road of Glory competition, the genius Lei Huoye has obtained the acknowledgement of 3 Grand Daos of Thunder in the Sacred Realm. The White Ram military lord revealed a satisfied smile. I'll take back what I said just now. Lin Feng is not being kind and reckless, giving Ruan Ming a chance. It seems like he has absolute confidence. Very good. Our Glory 7 Alliance finally has another genius after the Light Man. As long as she is properly trained, she will have a bright future. What, are you interested? Iwu Junju said with a smile. Being able to take a disciple that can suppress Yinho Junju's disciple by a level, it's not bad. The White Ram military lord said. Iwu Junju waved the black feather fan and revealed a smile. I'm afraid she has her sights set on the Miracle Garden. She might not be willing to accept you. Ice Crystal, Sacred Realm. Seeing the resplendent white light appear and Goddess Wakamin's figure disappear, in that moment, everyone was shocked by Lin Feng's swallowing the heavens move. absolute power, absolute pressure, and absolute power. Lin Feng used his absolute strength to make all the elite captains and soldiers shut their mouths. This was not a fluke, nor was it luck. No matter how picky a person was, they would not be able to say anything. Using the light source against the light source, Lin Feng faced it head-on. Without any tricks, he defeated Goddess Wakamin like he was sweeping away leaves. Standing in the decisive battle space, Lin Feng's figure was deeply imprinted in the hearts of every elite soldier. He was undefeatable. He was like a war god, powerful, too strong, beautiful win. Excited shouts rose and fell one after another. The elite soldiers and captains were all convinced. The Glory Army had a tradition of being strong, especially Lin Feng, who had killed demons on the battlefield, obtaining many military merits. This was deeply rooted in everyone's hearts. It was only because Lin Feng was born in the 33 continents and had risen up too quickly that some people were jealous. But now Lin Feng had completely conquered these soldiers. He was a true warrior. Awesome. Yi Xiao's face was red. He was the most excited and shouted the most hysterically. Big Brother Lin is too strong. Blowing Snow revealed a smile. I'm convinced. Wu Daozi gave a thumbs up. Captain is too strong. Shi Manzi gave a sweet smile. Looking at Lin Feng's figure in the ice crystal, she did not hide her admiration for him. Seeing Goddess Wakamin's defeated appearance, she wrinkled her nose like a little girl, like a proud little peacock. Her eyes instantly fell onto Lin Feng. Great victory! Lin Feng came out of the decisive battle space. The gazes of the surrounding people changed a lot at this time. There was less peace in their eyes and more awe and hostility, including Ying Jian and Chuan Xian Ho of the Second Glory Squad. At this time, no one dared to underestimate this famous ace captain in front of them. Combat power. 8065. Lin Feng did have the strength to back it up. I just got home, so I'm dog-tired. I hope my daughter's fever subsides soon. Chapter 863. Next, the White Ram Army's lord was still expressionless. After Lin Feng and Goddess Wakamin, it was the battle between two ace army commanders. One was the most senior one, Wei Xin Yuan, and the other was the strongest one, He Jin. Initially, he thought that it would be a fierce battle between two evenly matched opponents, but I forfeit. He Jin's choice stunned everyone. The White Ram Army's lord glanced at He Jin. Wei Xin Yuan wins. Next. Then, Ji Zisen and Chuan Xinho entered the battlefield. Lin Feng looked at He Jin. The ace army commander who brought him into the Nirvana world had lost a lot of strength, and his aura was fluctuating. He was seriously injured in the battle with the Devil Race in Battlefield Number 1. Obviously, he had not recovered well. He forfeited to preserve his limited strength. In the double elimination system, forfeiting a battle was a strategic decision. Because unless you win consecutively and get 2 places in the winner's group, you will still enter the loser's group. Lin Feng knew very well that it was better to enter early rather than late. At least, the opponent commander he would face in the next round would be much weaker. His choice was very smart. The first round of battle ended quickly. 7 of the 13 entered the winner's group, and 6 entered the loser's group. The second round of drawing lots. The White Ram Army's lord glanced at Meng Meng, Hong Bao, and the others. One-on-one, the loser will be eliminated. 3 of the 13 would be eliminated first. Looking at the pale Meng Meng, Lin Feng thought it was a pity. Her recovery time was too short. Basically, no matter whom Meng Meng drew, her chances of winning would not be high. For a Saint Power Cultivator, the impact of injury was far greater than that of a Saint Power Cultivator. Soon, the 6 people finished drawing lots. The first round, He Jin against Hong Bao, the White Ram Army's lord announced. The two looked at each other, and Hong Bao's face was solemn. The odds were against him in this battle. Ice Crystal's Sacred Realm. Too despicable. That is to say, he deliberately forfeited a round to preserve his strength. Hong Bao fought a fierce battle with Commander Yuan in the first round and was seriously injured. He can't even use half of his strength after a short rest. Alas, Hong Bao is too honest. No wonder he hasn't advanced to the competition of the 12 alliances all these years. Damn it, what an unfair loss. As the commander of the strongest elite army, Hong Bao was naturally famous in the elite army. Although he was the first to be eliminated, it did not affect his position in everyone's hearts. Instead, He Jin, who had advanced strategically, became the target of everyone's criticism. These were soldiers who had been fighting on the battlefield all year round. The one he admired the most was Hong Bao. Lin Feng was an expert who faced his opponents head-on and defeated them with absolute strength. In the second match, the leader of the Bei's squad, Wu Qi, was up against one of the top 3 elite captains, Ji Sunday. They were evenly matched, and it was difficult to determine who would win. No matter who wins in the next round, the loser's bracket will definitely be eliminated. Lin Feng's gaze then fell on the only 2 women among the 13 people, and they were both from the First Glory team, Meng Meng and Goddess Wakaman. Unfortunately, they had drawn the same group. Wu Qi, defeat. His strength was on par with Ji Zhishuan's, but Ji Zhishuan's injuries were more serious in the first round. In such a selection battle, the ability to continue fighting was equally important. However, although Ji Zishan had won, he was still able to win. But he won by luck, and he won tragically. Next match, the White Ram squad leader said in a deep voice. Meng Meng and Goddess Wakaman looked at each other, and the latter shook her head gently. I forfeit. There was a lonely whiteness on her gentle face. Goddess Wakaman's injuries from the battle with Lin Feng were not light. Her light source was exhausted. But the most important thing was, after the battle with Lin Feng, to Goddess Wakaman, the significance of the Road of Glory qualification battle. It was not big. Rather than fighting to the death with Vice Captain Meng Meng, it was better to keep the hope of advancing. Everyone discussed softly, but they were not too surprised. After all, Goddess Wakaman did not take up any advancement quota. Private exchange, the First Glory team is good, Ying Jian said with cold disdain. Lightman said indifferently, Meng Meng and Ruan Meng are both heavily injured. There is no meaning in fighting. Moreover, our First Glory team members often exchange pointers. In terms of strength, Ruan Meng is indeed inferior to Meng Meng, so there is nothing wrong with forfeiting. Captain Lightman is indeed eloquent, Ying Jian sneered. Lightman smiled and didn't argue with him. However, his words calmed the matter of Ruan Meng's forfeiture. As the captain, Lightman was naturally experienced. He Jin, Ji Zhishuan, Meng Meng advances. The White Ram squad leader said, next, the third round will begin. The 7 people in the winner's group will draw lots and fight one by one. The 4th ball will be empty. Begin. Lightman and Ying Jian looked at each other, secretly competing. The 2 took a step forward, sparks flying even before they met. In an instant, they drew their number balls, causing everyone to cry out in surprise. It was not that the 2 drew the same number balls, but that Lightman used God's hand again and drew the only number 4 ball. Once again, he advanced without a fight. Even Lightman could not help but laugh. Luck. Ying Jian picked up the number 1 ball, his cold eyes as sharp as swords. Wait until I win this match. Then I will face you in the next round. Don't think you can avoid it. I will let everyone know that I, Ying Jian, am the strongest in Team Glory. Let's talk about it after this match. Lightman smiled and pointed forward. In an instant, Wei Xinyuan and Qin Tiansheng drew their number balls. One was number 3, and the other was number 3. They were separated from Ying Jian, but the 5th ball was the bright number 1 ball. Lin Feng. Ying Jian's face was cold. The 3rd round of drawing lots ended. Ying Jian faced Lin Feng. Wei Xinyuan faced the ace commander Yuan Chuan again, and Chuan Xi Marquis faced Qin Tiansheng. Different from the first round, every match in the 3rd round was a battle between the strong. Do your best, Lin Feng. Don't disappoint us. Win against Ying Jian. Don't lose to Team Glory. One match was enough to change everyone's impression of Lin Feng. The current Lin Feng was second only to Hong Bao and Ji Zhishuan in terms of support among the elite soldiers. Everyone cheered in high spirits. Yixia's face was red with excitement. He was completely immersed in the atmosphere. Even Wu Daozi, Chue Shui, and Shi Manzi were affected. However, momentum was one thing, but victory and defeat were two different things. Do you think he can win this match? Yinho Junju said indifferently. He used up too much of his source energy. It will be difficult to win against Ing Jian. Wu Junju said. Ing Jian's absolute strength is above Lin Feng, but White Ram General paused, his eyes shining as he looked at the battle space. Lin Feng is unfathomable. Although he used up all his light source in the battle with Ruan Meng, this match might not be a one-sided match. He should be able to cause some trouble for Ing Jian. Very interesting. Yinho Junju gave a rare smile. It's starting. Extremely tired. Go accompany my daughter. It's been 4 days, and her fever hasn't gone down. So annoying. This flu is too strong. Chapter 864. Once again, he entered the decisive battle space. Even though the crowd did not think highly of Lin Feng, to Lin Feng, going up against Ing Jian was an extremely good touchstone. He could use it to test his current strength. Ing Jian's strength was second only to Light Man in the Glory Alliance 7, on the same level as the 3 Ace Army commanders. And Ing Jian was very similar to him. He was one of the 2 ultimate masters in the Glory Alliance 7. He had an ultimate source point, which was also the fusion of 3 types of holy qi. Yin energy, dark energy, and wind energy fused into the Yin qi source point, which directly jumped from the first grade to the ultimate master. He was good at speed, and his combat movements were extremely nimble. He was also proficient in the path of light. With the white crane glimmer as the foundation, his speed was now shockingly fast. In the battle with Goddess Wakaman, in fact, he did not use his full strength. Clang! The perfect heavenly saint weapons collided. Ing Jian's black sword emitted a pitch-black light, and a thick dark aura spread out. Lin Feng was not to be outdone, and the perfect heavenly saint weapon, Slayer Demon, condensed a thick killing aura. The battle between light and darkness was instantly tilted. Humph! Ing Jian felt a little pressure, but he did not care. He was very clear about Lin Feng's strength. The dark purple sword between his eyebrows moved, and in an instant, the purple sword world spread out, and the moment it collided with Lin Feng's domineering blade world, it was directly crushed. The power of the 3rd grade, even if it was just the beginning, was stronger than an entire level. Super Heavenly Saint Treasure, Purple Sword. Different from Goddess Wakaman, who had just obtained the divine weapon, Ing Jian had obtained the Super Heavenly Saint Treasure for a long time. As a genius of the AO family, the dragon pattern appeared during the first bloodline awakening. Ing Jian was naturally carefully nurtured, and the Super Heavenly Saint Treasure was integrated into his body. The purple sword had a spirit, and not only could it help Ing Jian quickly comprehend the path of sword, it also had the purple sword world. The stronger Ing Jian's path of sword was, the stronger the purple sword world was. The Super Heavenly Saint Treasure's ability was supplemented by Ing Jian's ultimate holy qi, and his speed was rare. He was not even afraid of the same level of body refining demons. In his strength realm, he was the strongest, especially in terms of speed. The reason why he was able to escape from the primordial demon of Chiyu clan was because of the purple sword and his speed. And this time, what? Ing Jian was startled. In his purple sword world, there was an independent existence that was not restricted at all. No wonder this brat could defeat someone stronger than him. So he has a sacred treasure that can resist the shackles of the realm. The knowledgeable Ing Jian reacted quickly. There were many such treasures, such as his purple sword world. As long as the opponent's strength did not exceed his by too much, the purple myrtle sword would activate its protection. Although he couldn't suppress his opponent, he could at least protect himself. It's useless. Ing Jian attacked. In my violet sword world, I am the king. Afterimages appeared one after another, and the speed of the shadow sword suddenly increased. The purple sword world was like a protective barrier that isolated him from the world around him, allowing him to unleash his fastest speed. Even though he was unable to bind Lin Feng, his own strength had been greatly boosted. Very quickly, he locked on a Lin Feng's figure, and the shadow sword instantly caught up to him. Die! Ying Jian's sword transformed into a black shadow that shot out at an extremely fast speed. Puchi! It pierced through Lin Feng's body. In the next moment, Ying Jian's expression changed. An afterimage. Over there. Ying Jian's eyes turned cold. His figure flashed, his sword following his heart. In the purple sword world, Ying Jian's speed was incomparably fast. But what was strange was that every time Ying Jian attacked, it was like the moon in the water, unable to catch a single trace of Lin Feng. Such fast speed, too terrifying. I can't even see their movement speed, only their afterimages. Lin Feng is so strong. His speed can actually surpass the fastest Ying Jian of the Glory 7 Alliance. This is too inconceivable. The Ice Crystal Holy Realm was filled with discussion. The strongest of the Glory 7 Alliance was without a doubt Light Man. But Ying Jian's name had spread far and wide. He was the #1 sword of the 7 Alliance, one of the 2 ultimate experts, the fastest martial artist. But in front of them, Ying Jian, who was famed for his speed, could not catch up to Lin Feng. The cheers continued. The elite soldiers were cheering for Lin Feng. On the other side, the 3 generals were frowning. Why is Lin Feng giving up his advantage to compete in speed with Ying Jian? Wu Junju did not understand. Because he has the essence of light and the profound meaning of the path of light, white crane glimmer. Yinho Junju did not look away. While he is restricted by his cultivation, Lin Feng's speed is faster than Ying Jian's. The White Ram Army Lord said gravely, but Ying Jian has not used his bloodline power. Also, Lin Feng's light essence is limited. Wu Junju was curious. He shouldn't be so stupid. Geniuses are always proud, Yinho Junju said, just like how he defeated Ruan Meng with his light essence. He hopes to use speed to defeat Ying Jian to prove his strength. Let's continue to watch. The White Ram Army Lord did not think highly of it, but did not express his opinion. A battle of speed. Yinho Junju was wrong about one thing. Lin Feng did not need to prove his strength. He just did not place too much importance on this battle. It was more of a battle to sharpen himself. He had reached a bottleneck in comprehending the 3rd diagram of the white crane glimmer and needed external stimulation. Coincidentally, Ying Jian specialized in speed and had a resonance with his white crane glimmer. Therefore, Lin Feng chose to use speed to fight and sharpen himself. His attention was no longer on this battle. Instead, it was on the competition between the 12 alliances. The elimination battle of the 12 alliance competition will start in a month. If I can comprehend the white crane glimmer, my chances of entering the ranking competition will increase greatly. After obtaining the light essence and increasing his strength, Lin Feng changed his target to the ranking competition of the 12 alliance competition. Entering the ranking competition meant obtaining the right to enter the path of glory. The only difference was which path to enter and for how long. At this time, Ying Jian became more and more impatient as he fought. To him, if he lost to Lin Feng in speed, he would not just lose face today, he would lose all face. Gritting his teeth, Ying Jian did not care about the upcoming battle with the Light Man. The dragon tattoo on his neck lit up, and his true dragon descendant bloodline instantly erupted. Roar! Ying Jian's face revealed a majestic expression. The dragon tattoo shone brightly, and cracks appeared on the skin around his neck. Scales grew out crazily, and 2 lumps of meat appeared on Ying Jian's head like bamboo shoots. His body became extremely terrifying, as if he had transformed into a dragon. Ao family, true dragon descendant. When the first bloodline awakened, the skin became hard and dragon scales formed. Strength and defense increased slightly. When the second bloodline awakened, the skin became dragon scales. Strength and defense increased greatly. Lumps of meat appeared on the head, and speed increased slightly. Because of Ao Jianhui, Lin Feng knew the Ao family's bloodline like the back of his hand. It was obvious that Ying Jian's bloodline had already awakened for the second time. Just the white crane glimmer alone would not be able to stop him. It's time. The battle had already reached its climax. Lin Feng clearly understood that the opponent in front of him was stronger than Goddess Wakamin and could no longer hold back. Pa! Pa! His body expanded and golden light flashed. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Titanium grade body. Chapter 865. He had not used the titanium grade body in a long time. Because Lin Feng's current body was better than an ace commander, the titanium grade body was just icing on the cake. To a Nemo expert, the realm and power level were more important. No matter how fast you were, you could not beat the restrictions of the realm and the restriction of the holy treasure. No matter how strong you were, you could not beat the burst of origin energy. But in the battle against Ying Jian, speed was the main factor. Ying Jian's power level was very simple. He used the super heaven-ranked holy treasure as the source and the speed of his sword technique as the support. He was very strong and clean. The advantages and disadvantages were equally obvious. As long as one of them was countered, it would be a huge blow to Ying Jian. Because Ying Jian's strength was not flexible. Light man against Ying Jian, their realms were the same. The light origin and profound meaning completely overshadowed Ying Jian. This method of defeating Ying Jian was the easiest to achieve. But Lin Feng countered Ying Jian on another level, and it was a humiliation that Ying Jian had never experienced before. Speed was countered. Impossible. Ying Jian's face was pale. His entire body was trembling. He originally thought that his speed was Lin Feng's limit, so he used his bloodline to suppress Lin Feng. Who would have thought that after crossing a mountain, there would be an even higher mountain? No matter how fast he was, he could not even see Lin Feng's shadow. Every time he saw the white crane, it would disappear in an instant. The bigger the advantage, the bigger the flaw. Ying Jian suddenly realized that when his speed was not as fast as the opponent, when Purple Sword World could not counter the opponent, there was nothing he could do. No, this must be fake. Ying Jian was hysterical. His dragon form face was twisted. On his head, the proud crown fell. Ice crystal, sacred realm. Everyone was stunned. If they could barely see the two's movements before, then now, other than the black light, gold light, and white light, they could not see anything else. Many elite soldiers stared with their eyes wide open as though they were petrified. Only when they saw it with their own eyes did they realize how big the gap was between them and the top experts of Glory 7 Alliance. Captain is too bad. If he wins like this, Ying Jian will have a shadow in his heart, Wu Daozi said. Who cares? Ying Jian is not a good person. Yi Xiao laughed. Chue Shui's beautiful eyes flashed. Brother Lin's speed is so fast that my eyes can't keep up with him. In battle, we naturally have to rely on aura to distinguish. Shi Manzi gently laughed as she looked towards the ice crystal. However, Ying Jian has already lost his cool. The outcome of this battle has already been decided. Just as her voice sounded out, an uproar broke out in the surroundings. As everyone's gazes gathered, Shadow Sword turned into a streak of white light and disappeared from the battlefield. They didn't even see how Lin Feng attacked. Victory and defeat were decided. The three generals looked at each other, as if they were in a dream. What a terrifying speed. Wu Junju sighed. He does have the right to be arrogant. Yinho Junju said, compared to the control of the origin of light, he is much stronger. It was better than Ruan Meng. In terms of speed, it crushed Ying Jian. For such a super genius, it's only natural for him to be a little confident. He does indeed have the strength to be proud of. I never thought that Ying Jian would lose so miserably. The White Ram Army, Lord muttered. As their gazes converged, Lin Feng and Ying Jian walked out of the battlefield. Their expressions were completely different. Lin Feng did not have the attitude of a victor. His calm expression was as if he had just experienced an insignificant battle. Ying Jian was severely injured, his eyes revealing disbelief and deep unwillingness. Losing to Lin Feng, he had never thought of it. Powerful. Light Man gave a thumbs up. Meng Meng pursed her lips as she looked at Lin Feng with a complicated gaze. She originally thought that Lin Feng would only be able to feel the atmosphere in the third round of the Path of Glory. She didn't expect Lin Feng to win all the way, defeating Fairy Ruan Meng first. Then he defeated Ying Jian. His strength was terrifying. On the contrary, She had lost to Qin Tiansheng and relied on Goddess Wakaman's forfeit to barely retain her position. Thinking of this, Meng Meng's face turned red. "Are you all right, Vice Captain Meng Meng?" Lin Feng asked. I'm fine. I'm fine." Meng Meng avoided Lin Feng's eyes and lowered her head uneasily. Light Man smiled confidently. "I really didn't misjudge you. Today, even if it's me, I'm not sure I can win. Master Light Man is too kind," Lin Feng said modestly. "But you have to be careful. Ying Jian is a very petty person and easily holds grudges. Today, you made him lose face in public. He definitely won't let you go," Light Man said. "Like Master Light Man?" Lin Feng asked. Light Man smiled bitterly. Lin Feng was the first to advance to the winners group, while Ying Jian fell to the losers group. The second match was another battle between two ace commanders. Wei Xi and Yuan faced the new ace commander Yuan Shuang. In terms of strength, both of them were inferior to He Jin. In terms of experience, Wei Xi and Yuan was more experienced, but the newborn calf was not afraid of the tiger. In the end, the winner was still Yuan Shuang. When enemies meet on a narrow path, the brave will win. Commander Wei is used to living like a prince. He doesn't have enough fighting spirit, Lin Feng said softly. Wei Xi and Yuan's loss was not unjustified. Or rather, he was in a half-forfeited state. He was defeated by Yuan Shuang without using his full strength. Thinking about it, the qualification battle for the Path of Glory was very important to him. Moreover, it was his first time participating. In fact, the qualification battle for the Path of Glory was held every year. Commander Wei had participated in it countless times and had long since lost interest. He probably didn't want to fight. He just wanted to complete the mission. If he could win, he would win. If they were evenly matched, Commander Wei naturally wouldn't go all out. In the third match, Chuan Xi and Marquis faced Qin Tiansheng. The former was stronger, but Qin Tiansheng had a perfect heaven-ranked sacred treasure. He was like a turtle shell. One attacked, and one defended. Sparks flew. Qin Tiansheng won. Lin Feng watched until the end. Qin Tiansheng exhausted Chuan Xi and Marquis' strength. Although it was not a glorious victory, at least he won. The battle ended immediately. Lin Feng, Yuan Shuang, Qin Tiansheng, and Guangnan entered the winners group. Ying Jian, Wei Xi and Yuan, and Chuan Xi and Marquis entered the losers group. Without any time to rest, they continued the next round with He Jin, Ji Jixuan, and Meng Meng. One-on-one, 3 more people were eliminated. Wow, there was an uproar. Ying Jian had the worst luck. He was matched with He Jin. It was another fierce battle. Even if he was in peak condition, he might not be able to win against the strongest ace commander, He Jin. Not to mention that he had just experienced a fierce battle with Lin Feng and was seriously injured. On the contrary, He Jin forfeited the first match and easily defeated Hong Bao the second time. It could be said that he preserved his strength as perfectly as possible. Ying Jian has used all his trump cards. He will lose this match. Lin Feng looked ahead. The first match of the losers group had already begun. Chuan Xi and Marquis was matched with Ji Jixuan. The latter had just fought a bloody battle with Wu Qi and was exhausted. Although the former was defeated by Qin Tiansheng, his injuries were not serious. The result came out quickly. Chuan Xi and Marquis had a strong foundation and entered the next round. Next match, Wei Xi and Yuan against Meng Meng, the White Ram Army Lord said. Chapter 866. Meng Meng is definitely going to lose. Look, Commander Wei is too cunning. He has been hiding his strength. When he meets a strong opponent, he pretends to be dead. When he meets a weak opponent, he shows off. In terms of mastery of playing dead, who is better than Commander Wei? You can only blame Vice Captain Meng Meng for losing so badly in the first round. Commander Wei won't be able to recover in a short time. The Ice Crystal Sacred Realm was in a state of decline. From the standpoint of the elite soldiers, they naturally liked Meng Meng more. After all, she was a rare cute girl in Glory's 7 alliances. Before the arrival of Goddess Wakaman and Shi Manzi, Meng Meng was fully deserving of the title of Flower Queen. Even now, she still had a lot of fans. Everyone knew that Meng Meng would definitely lose this battle. In terms of battle power, Commander Wei was already better. Furthermore, Meng Meng was injured and her strength was greatly reduced. What was unexpected was that Meng Meng, who was forced into a desperate situation, actually defeated Commander Wei. Indeed, this is Commander Wei's style. Lin Feng chuckled. Meng Meng was lucky to meet Commander Wei because the latter did not have the heart to compete. This was different from Commander He and Commander Yuan. Normal warriors were competitive and would not easily admit defeat. However, Commander Wei did not care. Losing to Meng Meng was like doing a favor for him. Why not? If he lost, he would not lose anything. Instead, he would leave a good impression on Meng Meng. If Meng Meng became a commander in glory in the future, it would be beneficial for him. Commander Wei knew the upper limit of his strength. Instead of fighting for that 1 in 1,000 or 1 in 10,000 chance, he would rather live his life peacefully. He would be able to be like a fish in water in Glory's 7 alliances. Vice Captain Meng Meng still has one last round. There should be hope. Lin Feng looked at the battle arena. The last round of the losers group had already begun. Ying Jian and the strongest ace, Commander He Jin, were fighting fiercely. Neither side was willing to give way. After this round, there was only one last round left for both the winners and losers groups. To decide, 5 spots to advance. Just a little bit more. It's a pity for Ying Jian. It can't be helped. In the battle with Lin Feng, Ying Jian's injuries were too severe. Not only his body, but also his heart. Look at the battle between him and Commander He. His attacks were chaotic and impatient. His heart wasn't steady, so how could he hope to win? Originally, there was still a 20% to 30% chance of success, but now it's a complete failure. After all, he's the captain of glory. Being high and mighty, you have suffered too few setbacks. Unlike us, failure is a common occurrence. Following Ying Jian's defeat, 3 more people were eliminated from the losers group. At this moment, the winners group consisted of 4 people: Guangnan, Yuan Shuang, Qin Tiansheng, and Lin Feng. They were hesitating, waiting for the final battle. The winners group had 2 places to advance. The winners group will proceed to the last round. Commander Bai Jie's voice was deep. The 4 of them stepped forward one after another to draw lots. Under everyone's focused gazes, the most attention-grabbing battle took place. The first match, Light Man against Yuan Shuang. The White Ram Army's commander announced. Heated discussions broke out one after another, causing intense resonance. However, the 2 men's expressions didn't change at all. One of them was the captain of the first glory team, while the other was a newly promoted ace commander. He was the most talented of the 3 ace commanders. Their eyes met, and their battle intent collided. They stepped into the decisive battle space side by side. It was a carefree battle. Although Yuan Shuang's battle prowess wasn't bad, the one who had the last laugh was still Light Man. After dozens of battles, Light Man won the battle without revealing his strength. It was easy to win. Lin Feng commented. This wasn't Light Man's true strength. He had been hiding his strength, even deceiving him before. Light Man's strength was not only better than Yuan Shuang, but also better than the strongest ace commander, He Jin. He could fight evenly with the Qiyu clan's primordial demon. It could be seen. Light Man's true strength should be at the glory commander level. Unfortunately, I have no chance to fight with him today. Lin Feng sighed in his heart. If he could fight with Light Man, it would be of great benefit to himself. Not far away, he saw a pair of eyes burning with a raging battle intent staring at him. Lin Feng nodded to Qin Tiansheng, then got up and walked to the decisive battle space. The second match, Lin Feng against Qin Tiansheng. The White Ram Army's commander announced. Ice Crystal Holy Land. Brother Lin should be able to win, right? Snow Chue said. Of course, Brother Lin is the strongest. Yixia patted his chest, his eyes filled with worship. Qin Tiansheng has a perfect heaven-grade defensive Saint Treasure, helping him defeat strong enemies. Captain, as long as you can break through the Saint Treasure's defense, Qin Tiansheng's strength alone is not enough. Wu Daozi said. Shimanzi smiled. No need to worry. Lin Feng has a 90% chance of winning. Even if he loses, Entering the losers group will be easy. The third round of the Path of Glory has been up till now. For Lin Feng, there is no pressure. His chances of advancing are 100%. In the ice crystal holy land, the aura had already solidified. Everyone looked in front of them. Lin Feng and Qin Tiansheng were facing each other. This was not only a battle of the Path of Glory, but also a battle of the Ace armies. One of them was the expert who had occupied the first place of the Ace Army's combat power ranking, while the other was an expert with 80 points. Dark Wind Fortress. Almost instantly, Qin Tianxing took out his perfect heaven-grade defensive Saint Treasure, which was given to him by Ying Jian. A dense earthen yellow storm enveloped the entire fortress, wrapping Qin Tianxing tightly. Gusts of dark wind appeared out of nowhere, connecting with each other. As an expert of the Path of Wind, Qin Tianxing's control of the Dark Wind Fortress was perfect. This was also the reason why he could defeat strong enemies. Even Marquis Chuan Xin had lost to him. As long as the Saint Qi was not exhausted, the Dark Wind Fortress could be maintained. Against Lin Feng, Qin Tianxing wanted to draw a gourd and use defense as an attack. But this time, the opponent he encountered was Lin Feng, who was extremely good at attacking. He was completely different from Meng Meng and Marquis Chuan Xin. In front of Lin Feng, the Dark Wind Fortress was only a Saint Treasure with a layer of profound meaning of wind. Unless I use the origin of wind to drive it, there might be some resistance. Lin Feng raised Slayer Demon and slammed it down. Qin Tianxing's strength was within his expectations. The origin of light turned into a dense white light, and a white crane descended from the sky, its blade shockingly fast. Lin Feng used absolute attack speed to break through Qin Tianxing's tortoise defense. Indeed, the Dark Wind Fortress's energy was inexhaustible. But even if it was replenished, it would take time. Boom! With the power of the newly broken sea and the white crane's faint light, he won the battle in an instant. Amidst the frenzied cries of the elite soldiers, Lin Feng used absolute strength to crush the Dark Wind Fortress, shattering Qin Tianxing's blade and turning it into a streak of white light. Lin Feng had told everyone. He was, without a doubt, the strongest person in the Ace Army. He was unrivaled. While my daughter was sleeping, I finished 2 chapters and went to eat with my daughter for an 4 drip. Sigh, the fever still hasn't subsided. I've never been so sick before. I'm really exhausted. Chapter 867. Lin Feng. Lin Feng. Lin Feng. The entire ice crystal holy land was filled with shouts. When Lin Feng defeated Qin Tianxing with his absolute strength, the elite army was in an uproar. As the main force fighting against the monster race and demon race on the battlefield, they respected warriors like Lin Feng who liked to fight head-on. Round after round, Lin Feng defeated his opponents with his absolute strength, including the proud daughter of heaven who was valued by Army Lord Yunzhan, the newcomer of the First Glory Team, Fairy Ruan Meng, the high and mighty Second Glory Team captain, Ying Jian from the famous AO family, Qin Tianxing, who had always been famous in the trump card army. Lin Feng, as a small character, completed the reversal. The 4 members of the Chaos team were full of smiles. Lin Feng won the last round cleanly. Everyone was satisfied. Yi Xia and the other elite soldiers excitedly called out Lin Feng's name. Chui Shui and Shi Manzi revealed satisfied smiles. Lin Feng's rise in fame made them feel even more honored. Next is the competition for the 12 alliances. Wu Daozi's eyes were filled with fighting spirit. Yes, let the other 11 alliances see Brother Lin's strength. Yi Xia clenched his fist and was extremely excited. Those who did not know would think that he was the one who advanced. Shi Manzi and Chui Shui looked at each other and smiled. They were looking forward to it. Congratulations on advancing. Light Guy smiled and welcomed him. It's a pity that I don't have the chance to fight Master Light Guy. Lin Feng said. There was no need for the 2 in the winners group to compete. Both of them advanced. When you officially join the First Glory Team, there will be plenty of opportunities to spar. Like I said, definitely. Lin Feng smiled and nodded. The surrounding people were envious. On the other side, the White Ram Army General announced, the winners group competition has ended. Light Guy and Lin Feng have advanced. They each received a first-class military medal from Yinho Junju. Looking at the two, the White Ram Army General smiled. Aren't you going to thank Yinho Junju? Thank you, Yinho Junju. Lin Feng and Light Guy said together. The surrounding participants looked at them enviously, especially Qin Tiansheng, who had just lost to Lin Feng. His eyes were bloodshot. That was a first-class military medal. To enter the 5th level of glory and obtain any heaven rank perfect holy treasure. Military Commander Yun Zhan smiled benevolently. Seeing such a genius expert in our alliance of 7, I am very happy. What does a mere 2 first-class military merit medals count for? If you can enter the 12 alliance ranking competition in a month's time, General Yun Zhan's eyes flashed with a bright light. Each of you will be given a first-class military merit medal. There was a gasp. Although there was only 1 level difference between the first-class military medal and the first-class military medal, the effect was far from heaven and earth. With a first-class military medal, to be able to enter the 6th level of the Glory Treasury, in addition to the top-grade perfect Heaven Saint weapon and Holy Treasure, there were also Heaven rank Holy Treasures. Thank you, Yinho Junju. Lin Feng was overjoyed. There was no need to talk about the function of a Heaven rank Holy Treasure. Legend had it that it already had a spirit. There was a qualitative difference between it and a Heaven rank Holy Treasure. It could be seen that the White Ram Army General had acted first and reported later, but now it was Yinho Junju who acted on his own. As the oldest general of the Glory 7 Alliance, even the combined wealth of the White Ram Army General and Iwu Junju was not half of Yinho Junju's. The Battle of the 12 Alliance. Lin Feng was looking forward to it, not only for the Heaven rank Holy Treasure. At that time, he would compete with the top geniuses of the Glory 12 Alliance. With material incentives, the losers group was even more motivated. Yinho Junju's promise was not only Lin Feng and Light Man, but also 5 spots. Although the 3 people in the losers group could only obtain a second-class military medal, if they could enter the 2nd stage of the Battle of the 12 Alliance, they could also obtain a first-class military medal. Losers group. The last round. The White Ram Army General swept his gaze across the 5 people. Chuan Xian Marquis, Meng Meng, and He Jin would compete for the last 3 spots with Yuan Shuang and Qin Tiansheng, who had just fallen into the losers group. As usual, draw lots. Number 3. Lin Feng looked at Meng Meng, hoping that she would draw the number 3 ball to directly advance. Meng Meng pursed her cherry lips, her small hands trembling slightly. She was also a little nervous. Although she was the vice-captain of the first Glory team, Meng Meng's strength had only transformed in the past few years. She had never entered the Battle of the 12 Alliance. A small red ball. It fell into Meng Meng's hand. Number 1. Lin Feng could see the pale and disappointed look on Meng Meng's face. Her current strength was less than 10%, and her chances of advancing were slim. However, this was fate, and it was not up to her. After Meng Meng, Chuan Xian Marquis drew the number 3 ball. He was cursing. The calmest one was He Jin, because he had the highest chance of advancing. He reached out and touched the number 3 ball, causing Chuan Xian Marquis' face to turn ashen. After He Jin was Yuan Shuang, and the number 3 ball fell in her hands. There was no need to compete again. She directly advanced. The Ice Crystal Sacred Realm was in an uproar, but there were not many criticisms. After all, Yuan Shuang's strength was there. If not for the battle with Light Man, she would have already advanced. In terms of strength, she was definitely in the top 5 of all the participants. Even compared to He Jin, she was not much inferior. Damn it! Qin Tiansheng was so angry that his teeth almost shattered. The number 3 ball in his hands was taken away by Yuan Shuang, leaving him with only the number 1 ball. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he looked at Light Man, who smiled and nodded. For Meng Meng, it was good to be able to grab the number 3 ball and directly advance, but fighting with the weakest Qin Tiansheng was not a bad opportunity. Although Meng Meng lost to Qin Tiansheng in the first battle, things were different now. Qin Tiansheng had just tasted defeat and was heavily injured. His Tornado Fortress is difficult to use, and it can't last long. On the contrary, Although Meng Meng lost in the first battle, she did not use much strength in the second and third battles. Her current situation was much better than Qin Tianqing's. Her chances of advancing had greatly increased. Under everyone's attention, the last two battles of the losers group began. Qin Tiansheng fought continuously without any time to rest. Under Meng Meng's continuous attacks, his defense was finally broken, and he was unwilling to lose. Although he won 2 battles in a row at the beginning of the Path of Glory, his strength was not enough, and he was eliminated. The second battle was even more uneventful. Although Chuan Xian Marquis tried his best to counterattack, he was quickly defeated by the strongest trump card, He Jin. At this point, the second Glory team was completely annihilated. Meng Meng, He Jin, and Yuan Shuang advance. The White Ram Army's leader announced the final result. In the first 3 rounds of the Path of Glory competition, the Glory 7 Alliance's selection had finally come to an end. Light Man, Lin Feng, Meng Meng, He Jin, and Yuan Shuang would represent the Glory 7 Alliance to participate in the 12 Alliance battle in a month's time. They would compete with the geniuses of the Glory Alliance, especially the Glory Alliance's first to third alliance. Miracle Garden. Lin Feng's eyes lit up. Soon, he would step into the sacred land of humanity. To be continued. Chapter 868. After 3 months of the road of Glory qualification competition, the first stage had come to an end. 1. For the participants, this stage was like bamboo shoots breaking through the soil, rushing to be the first. But for the 3 generals, this was just the beginning. The competition for the 12 guilds was the real competition. At that time, each battle would be incomparably difficult, as they would have to face the talented experts of the 12 guilds. Especially for the Glory Guilds 1 to 3, the Miracle Garden Holy Lands martial artists were frequent participants in the competition of the 12 guilds. There were even several times when they took all the top 10 spots in the ranking competition. Even the most unlucky ones took 5 spots, and taking the top 3 spots wasn't rare at all. Even if a genius appeared from the 11 guilds and took the championship, the 2nd to 5th places were still taken by the Miracle Garden's 3 guilds. Li Poji. Lin Feng was surprised. On the same age as you. Yellow skin, black hair, and even his appearance is a bit similar. Light Man said with a smile, "It's very similar to your experience." Li Poji didn't stand out at first, but who would have thought that he would become stronger and stronger, finally breaking the shackles of the Miracle Garden's 3 guilds. He really is incredible. I really want to see him. Lin Feng nodded. I can't see him for now. Light Man shook his head. He broke through to the Nirvana realm last year when he participated in the competition for the 12 guilds, directly becoming a commander. Lin Feng gave a soft on. In the Road of Glory qualification competition, the commander and his disciples could not participate. Because their advantages were too obvious and they did not lack resources, they could obtain the Road of Glory qualification by becoming a Glory member. Normal members would receive a basic and intermediate grade Road of Glory for a month. Team leaders would receive a high grade Road of Glory for a month, and there was no need to mention the commander. 1. As for the disciples of the commander, it was like the imperial list. No matter how poor a general was, he had more resources than the Path of Glory. Lin Feng was a bit surprised. There was a figure standing in front of them. It was the White Ram commander. His eyes were like a hawk's, and there was a braid behind his head. But his eyes were not ice cold. Rather, they were bright. Blocking their path, it was clear that he was waiting for Light Man and Lin Feng. General. Lin Feng and Light Man bowed respectfully. You go first. The White Ram Army's leader glanced at Light Man. I have something to discuss with Lin Feng. Light Man's eyes lit up as he glanced at Lin Feng. He nodded and said, Yes, General. With his experience, he knew why the White Ram military lord had come. He sighed in his heart. However, he still couldn't catch the eye of the general. Comparisons are odious. Light Man sighed inwardly, but with his breadth of mind, he naturally wouldn't be jealous and would only feel happy for Lin Feng. The military lord took in too few disciples. Except a disciple, Lin Feng was stunned. General Bai Jia nodded and said, Bai Jia, never speak nonsense. With your talent, As long as you are nurtured carefully, you will definitely be able to cross the Grand Nirvana stage and become the new general of the Glory 7 Alliance. Lin Feng was a little stunned. To see he had never thought that he would be favored by the general and be taken in as a disciple. Glory Alliance has an unwritten rule that we will not accept disciples under the Nirvana stage unless their talent far surpasses others. The White Ram military lord said in a deep voice, "Your background is very clean. You come from the 33 continents and have no ties. Although you work for the Blood Tower, you are not part of the large families. Most importantly, the White Ram military lord's gaze was intense. I am very satisfied that you rejected the invitation of the Scarlet Billow Squad. Loyalty." Lin Feng understood. Just as the White Ram military lord said, they would not accept disciples under the Nirvana stage, because once they reached the Nirvana stage, they would have the freedom to choose. There were not many who stayed in the Glory Alliance. Only those who truly stayed in the Glory Alliance would be favored by the general. And this was probably a secret of the Glory Alliance. What the Glory Alliance wanted were experts who were completely loyal. If it was only because of the master's disciple, it was a little far-fetched. Of course, martial artists with far greater talent were worth the risk. Oh, Lin Feng was hesitant. He had no intention of acknowledging a master. After all, he was just a passerby on Planet Nemo. Soon, he would reach Earth. The relationship between Earth and Planet Nemo had yet to be clarified. Moreover, he already had a very strong master, the true Dragon Monarch, a supreme existence that could destroy Planet Nemo with a raise of his hand. If he acknowledged the White Ram military lord as his master, he would indeed obtain some convenience at this stage. However, there would be many more ties in the future, especially emotional ties. With that thought in mind, Lin Feng had already made up his mind. "I'm sorry, General. Junior is still used to freedom." "Oh." The White Ram military lord narrowed his eyes and stared deeply at Lin Feng. After a long time, he nodded. "All right, I respect your decision." After saying that, he turned around and left. With his personality, he naturally wouldn't waste his breath to persuade Lin Feng. No matter how outstanding Lin Feng's talent was, there was a good saying. A forcibly picked melon is not sweet. Glory Territory, the first Glory Squad's base. "Congratulations, Brother Lin." Lightman smiled and greeted him. Beside him, Meng Meng also revealed a look of envy. Being accepted as a disciple by the military lord was what every Glory member hoped for. "You and Ruan Meng are so lucky." Meng Meng pouted. "No one likes me." As she spoke, she couldn't help but shake her head and squeeze out a smile. "But no matter what, congratulations." Lin Feng smiled. "I refused." "Huh? Lightman and Meng Meng were stunned and looked at each other. "You mean you refused the White Ram military lord to accept you as a disciple?" Lightman said in disbelief. This was a great opportunity that others could only dream of, yet Lin Feng had actually rejected it. Meng Meng also widened her eyes in shock. "Lin Feng, you can't be, right? I'm used to freedom. I don't like to be tied down." Lin Feng said, "So, in the future, please take care of me, Captain and Vice Captain." Lightman and Meng Meng looked at each other and smiled bitterly. "Wow, he refused?" Iwu Junju shouted exaggeratedly. "If he refused, then he refused. What's there to be surprised about?" The White Ram military lord acted as if it was nothing, and his expression was calm. Iwu Junju clicked his tongue and said, "This little guy is really not simple." Of course he's not simple. 3 months ago, he was only in the Nirvana realm and barely made it into the second round. The White Ram military lord's eyes sparkled. Who would have thought that he would be able to win 3 rounds in a row and enter the Battle of the 12 Alliances? Entering the Battle of the 12 Alliances as a soldier has only happened once in the entire history of Glory's 7 Alliances. Iwu Junju's eyes lit up. "Lord He Qing," the White Ram military lord mocked himself. "I'm not important enough. This little guy probably wants to climb even higher." "You mean?" Iwu Junju waved his fan. "He probably wants to shock everyone in the Battle of the 12 Alliances and obtain Warlord's favor." To be continued. Chapter 869. Lin Feng, what do you plan to do after rejecting the White Ram Army's leader? Lightman asked. I don't plan on joining the glory team for now, Lin Feng said. Why? Meng Meng's eyes widened. Lightman looked at Meng Meng. The second glory team suffered heavy losses and will need a long time to recover. If Lin Feng joins us now, including Hung, there will be 4 people in the first glory team. The glory team's mission will fall on our heads. Normally, it would be our job, but the next month or 2 will be a special period. Meng Meng understood. She was not stupid and understood immediately. This time, 3 people from the first glory team entered the elimination round of the 12 Alliance tournament. It is very likely that they will enter the final ranking round. So these 2 months are very important, Lightman said. After 2 months, it won't be too late for Lin Feng to join. Meng Meng nodded lightly. Will there be rumors? It doesn't matter if there is. This is my own choice, not just for the 12 Alliance tournament. Lin Feng said. The Chaos team was created by him, and it had just begun. If he left, it will be difficult for Man Z and the other 2 to support him. At the very least, he had to get the Chaos team on track before he could leave. This was a responsibility. In the training room. Let's stop here. It's a tie. Lightman's aura disappeared. Okay. Lin Feng also stopped. After 3 days, I have to look at you in a different light. Lightman looked at Lin Feng and sighed. The first time I saw you, you were at the bottom of the Ace Army list. Although you were holding back, your full strength back then was not even 1% of what you are now. There is one thing that hasn't changed. Lin Feng put away Slaughter Demon. Captain, your strength is still unfathomable. Lin Feng smiled slightly. His clenched right fist loosened. It was difficult to use one's full strength in a spar, but the captain's words of a tie were a bit exaggerated. He had used all his strength, but the captain still held back. Lightman shook his head. Compared to your astonishing improvement, mine is too insignificant. They looked at each other and smiled, appreciating each other. In his heart, he knew the other party's background. There was no need to say anything more. Lin Feng looked at Lightman, a fighting spirit flashing in his eyes. He then turned around and said, I look forward to my 3rd battle with Lord Lightman. This was the 2nd time they were close in strength, and the 3rd time. Lin Feng was looking forward to it. Catch! Lightman's voice came from behind. Lin Feng did not have a head, but the true dragon holy power moved along with it, like a pair of invisible hands catching him. 2 items. One of them was a blue war achievement gem. It could be exchanged for 10,000 battle merits. The other item was a medallion engraved with the symbol of the Glory Alliance. It was a first-class military medal that symbolized endless glory. Thanks, Captain. Lin Feng smiled and waved his hand. This was the extra reward that Lightman had promised him. If he could reach 80 combat points within 2 months, or if he could advance to the path of glory, he would be rewarded with 10k combat points and a first-class military medal. Lin Feng naturally wouldn't be polite. 10,000 military merits were not of much use to him, but the first-class military merit medal was a good thing. See you in a month, Sister Meng Meng. Although he had not joined in name, in fact, Lin Feng was already a member of the First Glory team and could come and go freely in the encampment. Since he had joined the First Glory team, the way he addressed him changed. He would call him whatever he wanted. If he still called Meng Meng Vice Captain, it would feel a bit distant. Wait, let's go together. Meng Meng's face was slightly red as she caught up. Go together? Lin Feng stopped. Meng Meng nodded gently. Take me to see someone. Who? Lin Feng was surprised. What kind of person was he familiar with, but Sister Meng Meng was not? Yi Xia. Lin Feng and Meng Meng entered the Ace territory. From time to time, there were strange gazes around, but they were surprised that Lin Feng and Meng Meng were so close. They did not know what the relationship between the 2 was. You want to learn illusion? Lin Feng was surprised. Meng Meng nodded. There are not many holy power cultivators in the Glory 7 alliances, and those with high cultivation and illusion are even rarer. Even if I can find them, they might not necessarily teach me. And Yi Xia belongs to the Chaos team. Also, he came from 33 continents with Lin Feng. I believe he will definitely give me a few pointers. Lin Feng looked at Meng Meng. This petite girl had her own unique strengths. Many people often found it difficult to put down their faces, especially when facing warriors who were weaker than them and had lower status than them. But Meng Meng did not care, and she really did not care. In order to improve her strength, she could think of all kinds of ways and change her mistakes. Losing to Qin Tiansheng made Meng Meng aware of her own weakness, but she did not escape. Instead, she chose to make up for it in time. It was really amazing. You both have your own strengths, just right to complement each other. Lin Feng said. Yi Xiao's illusion was unique, and even he could not resist it. Meng Meng was proficient in controlling objects, controlling holy power, and controlling physical attacks. In the Glory's 7 alliances, no one could compare to her. If the two could communicate without any gaps and use each other's unique skills, their strength would definitely have a huge breakthrough. Meng Meng nodded. Mastering illusions can help me enrich my attack methods, and, on the other hand, it is also very useful to improve my cultivation in the Refining Heart Realm. Refining Heart Realm. Lin Feng naturally knew that it was a place to obtain battle strength points and improve one's cultivation of heart force. The final 6 wheels could be called Hell Mode, and each wheel was crueler than the last. Back then, he had reached the end of the 5th wheel. I heard that, Lin Feng. You almost reached the 6th wheel? Meng Meng was very curious. Yes. Lin Feng smiled. I didn't expect your innate soul to be so good in heart force cultivation. Meng Meng praised. You have mastered so many attack methods. No wonder you are invincible and undefeatable. Lin Feng shook his head. Learning more is not as good as learning more. Sister Meng Meng, your physical attacks are quite good, but you lack an ascended artifact that can use all your strength. Under the same conditions, Qin Tiansheng can't win against you. The reason why Qin Tiansheng was able to win the first battle was because of the perfect heaven-rank saint artifact. Meng Meng couldn't break it, so she was beaten up the whole time. That's true. Meng Meng thought for a while and suddenly smiled, revealing 2 cute dimples. However, my physical attacks have reached a bottleneck, and it will be very difficult for me to improve further. I need an opportunity. I believe in illusions, and the wheels of 6 paths is my key. I heard that once you enter the 6th wheel, you will be able to feel your own heaven-rank cultivation. Once the power of the heart breaks through all 6 wheels, we will be able to obtain our own heaven-rank cultivation. Heaven-rank cultivation. Meng Meng's beautiful eyes flashed. If I want to enter the 12 Alliances ranking competition, I will only have a chance if I obtain the heaven-rank cultivation. Lin Feng's heartbeat suddenly quickened. Heaven-rank cultivation. The trump card of the Saint Power cultivators, the strongest innate soul, was actually closely related to the wheels of 6 paths? Sigh, I took care of my daughter last night and only slept for 4 hours. Today, I finished 2 drips in the morning and evening and finished writing 2 chapters. I'm too tired. Xiao Xiao isn't looking for an excuse. I'll be back to normal in the next 2 days. I hope everyone can understand. Chapter 870. Lin Feng's memory of the 6 paths of reincarnation was still fresh in his mind. When he reached the end of the 5th path of reincarnation, he chose to give up. Therefore, he was unable to see the entirety of the 6th path of reincarnation. In the Glory's 7 alliances, not to mention the 6th path of reincarnation, even the 4th path of reincarnation and the 5th path of reincarnation were extremely rare. Sky cultivation. This was the power of the heart. It belonged to the Saint Power. Lin Feng, who cultivated the true dragon origin point and the innate talent of the soul, naturally knew about the heavenly Ho. The Ho had 3 hearts, the deity heart, the demon heart, and the human heart. Each heart had different branches. For example, the god's heart had the cultivation of compassion, salvation, war, and so on. The demon's heart had the cultivation of Azura, extreme evil, massacre, and so on. The human's heart had the cultivation of chivalry, true kindness, self, benevolence, righteousness, desire, and so on. So, Sister Meng Meng, you already have a direction? Lin Feng asked. Meng Meng pouted and shook her head. My heart cultivation is not enough. I can't feel the direction of sky cultivation. However, Captain suggested that I walk the path of self or self. Of the 9 paths of cultivation in the human heart, the three paths of self, and forgetting are the most common. Lin Feng said, however, forgetting is suitable for people with pure hearts and few desires. Sister Mingming's true nature is naturally not suitable. In comparison, it is indeed easier to feel the path of self and self. A person's heart often had many layers of emotions. Just like a martial artist, it was impossible to sense only one type of energy of heaven and earth. However, it was also impossible to cultivate all of them at the same time. Only by focusing on one type of energy could one maximize one's cultivation and effectively increase one's strength. Lin Feng, do you also think I should cultivate the path of self or self? Ming Ming asked. Follow the choice of your heart. Lin Feng said, no matter which path you cultivate, there will not be much difference in the level of power. Ming Ming nodded. Anyway, there should be a revelation after entering the sixth path of reincarnation, right? Lin Feng's eyes twinkled. He also wanted to know which path his heart was leaning towards. After entering Yi Xia's territory, he arranged for the two to meet. Yi Xia was naturally overjoyed. Compared to Qian He, Meng Meng's strength was much higher. In particular, Meng Meng's proficiency in controlling the flow of energy had already reached the pinnacle of Saint stage. This aspect was what Yi Xia urgently needed at the moment. Compared to Meng Meng, his attack style was more simple. If he encountered someone as determined as Lin Feng, no matter how high his illusory cultivation was, it would be useless. However, people like Lin Feng were few and far between. The two of them hit it off right away and started to talk about their experiences in the cultivation of Saint energy. Lin Feng listened from the side for a while. Seeing that the two of them were getting along well, he left. The mission had been completed. He returned to number 111 territory. This time, Lin Feng had gained a lot. He held 2 first-class military merit medals, which were equivalent to exchanging them for 2 perfect heaven-grade holy treasures similar to Demon Slayer. In the first stage of the 12 Alliance tournament, which would be held a month later, he would be like a tiger that had grown wings. There's no hurry. It won't be too late to exchange at the end of the month. Lin Feng didn't use it immediately. For him, the most important thing was to have a suitable battle saber. Having the light element perfect Sky Saint weapon, Demon Slayer, was enough for now. Now that he had used 2 first-class military merit medals, it wouldn't cause his strength to change drastically. 1 month. It wasn't long, but it wasn't short either. Lin Feng knew that with his current strength, although he couldn't be reborn in a month, he would definitely be able to improve further. White crane glimmer. To comprehend the 3rd painting in a month, I need a bit of luck and opportunity. It's the same for my power realm. It's a huge hurdle to improve my saber heart from level 1 limit to level 2 beginning. My strength level can be improved to level 8 of Saint Ascension stage in half a month. If I can enter the ranking competition, I can probably reach level 9 of Saint Ascension stage in 2 months. Lin Feng pondered in his heart. Compared to the white crane glimmer and the realm of strength, the increase in strength was gradual and could be seen. However, these 3 were just icing on the cake. No matter which one it was, it wouldn't increase his strength greatly. My current strength, according to the captain's words, it's about the same as last year. Lin Feng thought to himself. Last year, Light Man didn't enter the final ranking competition. Although there was some luck involved, his strength was still the key. And Light Man's words might be a bit of praise and modesty. If his goal was to go further in the knockout stage, then it would be a good idea to choose any one of these 3 things to train. However, if his goal was the qualifier, then he would have to look further and set his sights on the qualifier stage. The current Light Man, Lin Feng's eyes were bright. The current captain was comparable to the primordial demon of the Qiyu clan. Just now, he had a greater chance of entering the ranking competition. Simply put, fight. If I don't succeed, I'll die for a righteous cause. Lin Feng had already made up his mind. Glory territory. Greetings, Commander Wei. Lin Feng saluted. It's Lin Feng. Come sit. Wei Xingyuan said happily. Now his attitude toward Lin Feng was completely different. Personally welcoming him was enough to give him face. Lin Feng smiled and nodded before sitting down. Wei Xin eagerly poured a cup of tea for Lin Feng and then dismissed all the servants. Lin Feng saw this and admired Commander Wei's actions. It was undoubtedly much easier to deal with such a person. Some words didn't need to be said. "I won't hide it from you, Commander Wei. I have something I need your help with," Lin Feng said. "Haha, Brother Lin, you're too polite." Commander Wei smiled and immediately closed the distance. "If there's anything I can help with, just say it. I won't refuse as long as it's within my power." Lin Feng nodded. "It's like this. I want to buy some holy fruits that can increase the concentration of bloodline. Do you have any way to do that?" Commander Wei's eyes lit up and he smiled. "I thought it was something important. How much does Brother Lin need?" 500,000 points. Lin Feng took out 5 blue gems and placed them on the table. In an instant, the blue light dazzled the entire hall. It was as beautiful as a blue palace. Wei Xingyuan was a little surprised. Envy flashed through his eyes. It wasn't easy for him to take out 500,000 points. "Brother Lin, you found the right person." Wei Xingyuan didn't decline. He put away the 5 blue gems. "If you're looking for Commander He and Commander Yuan, they might not be able to do it, but I'm sure I can." Lin Feng nodded. Commander Wei held a lot of power in Glory's Alliance 7. He was indeed much more powerful than Commander He and Commander Yuan. Moreover, he was the strongest out of the 3 commanders in terms of connections and handling matters. This was why Wei Xingyuan sought him out. "Then I'll wait for your good news." Lin Feng smiled. "Leave it to me." Wei Xingyuan patted his chest. Chapter 871. Make the best use of everything. For Lin Feng, it was fine as long as he had enough battle merits. If he wanted to enter the second stage of the 12 Alliance competition, bloodline was very important. The battle strength points of the Ace Army had already clearly shown that his greatest weakness was his bloodline. Peerless normal bloodline in the Glory 7 Alliance was indeed outstanding, even in the Ace Army, but in the top geniuses of the Glory 12 Alliance. He was at the bottom. However, this should not have been his weakness and weakness. As long as my bloodline can awaken a second time, even if it's the most basic evolution, it will jump from absolute grade to ultimate grade. Lin Feng was very clear that this large evolution could not only make up for his weakness, but also turn it into an advantage. The difference in strength was huge. 500,000 battle merits bloodline type Saint Fruits isn't much, but it can at least cover the main bloodline type Saint Fruits on planet Nemo. After absorbing the Blood Red Pearl, Lin Feng had some understanding of this. His body's ability to absorb the same type of Saint Fruit decreased with each fruit, so the first few had the best effect. 500,000 battle merits was enough to buy a few normal bloodline type Saint Fruits. This was enough. The rest will depend on my life force level. Lin Feng stepped into the refining heart realm again. Increasing his life force was very simple. After reaching the Nirvana stage, every breakthrough in strength was an increase in his life force. The easiest thing for him to do was to reach the Nirvana stage on the remote Tai star. It was a huge leap in his life force. However, it was impossible to break through in 2 months, even if he had 10 times light heart. But the True Dragon Star was different. The True Dragon Star is now level 8 Nirvana realm, only 2 steps away from the Sage realm. Lin Feng entered the Heart Refinement realm. The surrounding elite soldiers and ace soldiers all stared at him with reverence in their eyes. Right now, he had already become the true glory of the Glory Alliance. 2 months wasn't enough for the True Dragon Star to reach the Sage realm from level 8 Nirvana realm. But there was one way to do it. Obtain Heaven Grade Cultivation. Lin Feng's eyes lit up as he entered the Refining Heart realm. He nodded and greeted everyone. "Once I have Heaven Grade Cultivation, it's like I have light heart. My cultivation speed will increase by leaps and bounds, and I'll be able to raise my True Dragon Star to Saint Ascension in 2 months. That's more than enough." Lin Feng was full of confidence. Moreover, the cultivation of the True Dragon Star was just as important to him as the Dark Pea Star was. However, the True Dragon Saint Chi was created by his teacher, the True Dragon General. It was definitely extraordinary. Miracle Garden, Southern Prisons, AO family. one of the 4 AO families. They had a long history. Although they couldn't compare to the masters of the Miracle Garden, the 5 Tianmo clans, they still had a bit of fame. They occupied a large piece of land and lived in peace and contentment for generations. They had countless Nirvana stage experts and many Grand Nirvana stage experts. Step. Ing Jian stepped in, his face gloomy and ugly. He was the 7th son of the current clan head, Ao Li, Ao Ing. He had outstanding talent since young. The reason why he entered the Glory Alliance of 7 was firstly to train himself. Secondly, it was to recruit experts for the AO clan. Thirdly, he was ranked 7th. Therefore, he had a special liking for the 7th domain. Young clan head, young patriarch. The AO family members greeted respectfully when they saw Ing Jian. Ing Jian's expression was cold. He didn't even bother to say anything and walked straight into the passage. Losing in the path of glory was a stain on his record, and losing to Lin Feng was even more shameful. Thinking about how he had been played like a clown by Lin Feng, how his speed had been completely suppressed, and how he had been eliminated in front of everyone, Ing Jian's heart felt like it was being twisted. Damn it, Ing Jian wanted to tear Lin Feng into pieces. At this moment, he even forgot about Lightman, who he had always seen as a competitor. Only Lin Feng was left. Lightman was right. Ing Jian was very petty and would seek revenge for the smallest grievance. Oh, Ing is back. In front of him was a young man who was a head taller than Ing Jian. He narrowed his eyes and seemed to be surprised. Ao Li's 6th son, Ao Peng. Ing Jian glanced at him, but didn't even respond. He just walked past Ao Peng. The latter was slightly startled and then smiled. Ing, we have to work harder in this battle of the 12 Alliance. If we can enter the ranking competition, Father will reward us greatly. Ta! Ing Jian stopped in his tracks. His gaze was so cold that it could kill. Aya! Ao Peng pretended to realize and clapped his hands. I almost forgot. Ing, you seem to have been eliminated this time. TSK, such a pity. Father always said that Ing, you have the highest potential among the 7 of us. But it is no wonder. Potential is something that cannot be predicted. As the saying goes, growing up when you are young may not be the best, right? You are a petty person. Ing Jian mocked. He and Ao Peng had been compared since young. They were like fire and water. Ao Peng's mocking expression froze. His eyes turned cold. What did you say? Go back and tell second brother that if he continues to let Lin Feng grow, the next one to die won't be an avatar. Ing Jian's voice was low. He appeared like a ghost and disappeared at the end of the passage. Refined Heart Realm. Entering again, Lin Feng felt no pressure at all. The failure last time was not a real failure. He gave up willingly. Lin Feng was unwilling to do the last test of the 5th path of reincarnation, even if it was just an illusion. But this time, after learning the secret of Refined Heart Realm from Meng Meng, he had thought it through. Refined Heart Realm 18. Lin Feng skipped the first 12 realms and entered the last 6 paths of reincarnation. Every path was a hurdle. But this time, Lin Feng was confident that he would pass. Enter the 6th path of reincarnation and guide the direction of Tian Ho cultivation. After passing the Refined Heart Realm 18, you can obtain the power of Tian Ho cultivation and become a true sacred power cultivator. Lin Feng skipped through illusions one after another. It was like a dream. The illusions here were exactly the same as reality. When he reached out his hand, he could feel the touch and pain. It was a mixture of emotions. It seemed real and fake at the same time. It was hard to distinguish between real and fake. It was very similar to Yi Xia's illusion. Why was it called the 6 paths of reincarnation? It was because every reincarnation was equivalent to an experience of life. Perhaps you would know the first day you entered this illusion. You would also know the second day you entered. But so what if you entered for a month, a year, 10 years? Would you still know? The heart would become blurry very quickly. When countless years had passed, it would be hard to distinguish between reality and illusion. The boundary between the two was very blurry. This was also the reason why Lin Feng had rejected the 5th path of reincarnation. Feng, we are descendants of the demon race. "Brother, kill them all. Don't be soft-hearted. Those who achieve great things do not care about trifles. What's wrong with selling your soul for power?" The same scene, the same illusion. Once again, it became a stumbling block for Lin Feng. It became a hurdle that he could not cross in the fifth path of reincarnation. But today, Lin Feng was very different from before. Chapter 872. On one side was a human expert, and on the other side was his family. One had to see to Lin Feng. He wouldn't do anything that offended the heavens and reason, let alone kill the innocent. However, he wouldn't abandon his loved ones and protect the most precious existences in his heart, even if he knew that this was an illusion, a test. He was not willing to do it. This was his principle. If he could change his principle in an illusion, then he could change it in reality. Everything had two sides. The difference was in how you looked at it. Previously, in Lin Feng's heart, the tempering heart realm was a place for cultivation, a holy land for tempering one's mind. However, he found out from Meng Meng that this was not the case. The tempering heart realm was the path to heaven's cultivation. As for the tests, they were just tempering before reaching the end of the path, just like the forging of a weapon. You did not have to strictly follow the blueprint to forge it, and you did not have to follow the rules because the result of the weapon's forging was up to you. What kind of weapon did you want it to become? How should you forge it? Not only does the last wheel of the 6 paths of reincarnation have a revelation. Actually, from the moment you enter the first wheel, you are already screening, revealing your inclination and choice. Lin Feng's mind was clear. At this moment, he already understood the profoundness of the tempering heart realm. Different choices, different heaven's cultivation. If you walk the path of chivalry, you should devote yourself to the word chivalry until your death. Even if you have to sacrifice your family for righteousness, you will not hesitate. If you walk the path of true kindness, you should think of ways to stop killing. You should have a kind heart. If it's hard to choose and you don't want to choose, then the direction of your heart is the path of selflessness. Forget yourself and return to the origin. At this moment, Lin Feng was very clear about the illusion in front of him. It was as if he was standing at the highest point and looking down on everything. In fact, the easiest choice was to cultivate 2 of the 9 paths of the human puppet. The path of self, the path of self. The so-called self. It refers to the original me. The so-called self refers to the true self. Lin Feng understood clearly. For example, the path of self would tell you what was the most suitable and what should be done. The correct path was the path of perfection hidden in the depths of one's heart. Everyone would have such thoughts of perfection. What was the best for oneself? What was the most correct path? However, people were still people. People. There are 7 emotions and 6 desires. Humans cannot forget their original intentions. Because a person with flaws is a real person. Lin Feng stepped forward with a smile. It was as if he had ascended to the clouds. He dispersed everything in front of him and crossed the obstacles in his heart. The 6th Tao, what was right in front of him. Lin Feng had already made his choice and decision. The path he wanted to take was not the most common path of self-cultivation, but the path of self-cultivation. Self-cultivation. Be your true self. I don't want perfection, because it was flawed. Only by honoring the truest thoughts in one's heart was one's true self. After Lin Feng thought it through, the wheels of 6 paths was no longer a hindrance to him. The illusions were nothing but fleeting clouds to him. Lin Feng's heart was firm and unshakable. The illusions only lasted for an instant in the outside world, and in the blink of an eye, the illusions would vanish. Scene after scene, he followed himself and returned to the most primitive heart. They passed through layers of white fog in front of them. Waves of heart power gushed out. The true dragon source point in the talent soul roared towards the sky, bringing with it a kind of extreme excitement. It felt as if it had been given a new life. Give a soul. Hua hua. Ripples appeared in his sea of consciousness. The true dragon's source point shone with a golden light. It had undergone a perfect transformation. A formless and powerful mysterious energy surged in. Lin Feng stepped into the clouds, and his body was filled with a powerful energy. It was as if he controlled everything. Pa! Parting the clouds, Lin Feng stepped out of the refined heart realm. Outside the refined heart realm, colorful light shone brightly. It was extremely beautiful. All the elite captains and ace soldiers looked at the sky with their mouths agape. They were so shocked that they couldn't speak. The colorful light contained the power of the heavens. It was an unparalleled pressure that penetrated deep into their hearts. The legendary five-colored rainbow light. This is the sign of passing the 18th level of the refined heart realm. Unbelievable. It has been decades since such a phenomenon appeared in the Glory 7 Alliance. The last one was Yiwu Junju. The one who just entered the refined heart realm seemed to be Lin Feng. It was as if thunder had descended. Everyone was shocked. Lin Feng had just entered the refined heart realm. Who else could it be other than him? He's too powerful. Is he still human? That's right. He entered the 12 alliances as a soldier and broke records. Now, he even passed the 18th level of the refined heart realm. When Yiwu Junju passed, he was already a general, but Lin Feng was still in the Sage Ascension stage. Such a temperament is truly breathtaking. Everyone sighed. They looked up at the colorful light and witnessed the birth of a genius. Yinho Junju, Yiwu Junju said. Who? Yinho Junju raised his brows. He was a little curious. Yiwu Junju smiled. It's him. Him? Yinho Junju was stunned. He frowned. Lin Feng. As soon as he said that, Goddess Wakaman, who was beside Yinho Junju, trembled. That's him. Military Commander Yiwu waved his Black Crow fan and said, he is really incredible. No wonder he rejected by Jia. His aptitude and talent are all top-notch. Although he is not as good as Lipoji last year, he is probably not far behind. If he can shine in the 12 Alliance competition this time, he'll definitely be valued by a warlord. Yinho Junju shook his head. I don't know if I should be happy or helpless. If he was valued by a warlord, it meant that Lin Feng would leave. It would undoubtedly be a loss for the 7 alliances. Of course you should be happy. Yiwu Junju smiled. Yinho Junju nodded. I'm being petty. The two looked at each other and smiled. They were in a good mood. However, Fairy Ruan Meng, who had landed beside military Lord Yinzhan, pursed her cherry lips in disappointment. She, who had always been high and mighty, felt like she had fallen into the mortal world. She had been defeated and chased away by Lin Feng time and time again, and all that was left of her was her fragile outer skin, a pure and persistent sword heart. It shook the entire 7 alliances, a miracle that had not been seen in the refined heart realm for decades, a genius that had not appeared in the 7 alliances for a long time. Lin Feng once again made his name known. Now, he was even more famous than Guangnan. He had already become the symbol of the 7 alliances. However, everyone only knew that Lin Feng had a strong heart and passed through the 6 realms. However, they did not know that Lin Feng had passed through the refined heart realm. They did not know that Lin Feng was not only a warrior. He was a sacred power cultivator. Let's go together. Lin Feng looked at Meng Meng and Yixia. The three of them stood facing each other in the training room. Heaven's Eye Cultivator. Meng Meng's eyes were filled with envy. Okay. Yixia's eyes were filled with excitement. Thank you. It's been 9 days. This is the first time my daughter's body temperature has dropped below 37 degrees. I'm energetic now.